that high.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And I would say 8 to 10 spots.
water where it's not supposed to
Andrew's
Yeah,
back.
and
Brown
it keeps
baggage.
it from, it doesn't have like,
Brown
I think
baggage.
3 inches of fall to the back.
go. Flat roofs are horrible.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they're necessary in some places.
Yeah, but they're just a pain because the water doesn't, it lays there too long.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem comes in.
Okay, good morning, everyone. We'll call this meeting to order of the DeKalb County Commissioners. Today's date is February 26, 2024. Good morning. Who's going to go first? Larry going first?
The Larry and Dottie Show.
Yeah, good morning. I brought up I don't know if you guys know it or not, but we've had some trouble with the roof leaking at the 220 building. We had 4 different spots leaking. I had a company come in and go over it. They found 2 holes, and they were just little holes. So I'm not confident that fixed all of our problems. Several years ago, we had a quote on putting a whole new roof on, and I think it was in close to $60,000 to do that. Anyway, I reached out to this company. They did the museum, and they were really, really happy with what they had done. So what this is a coating that they put on it. They guarantee it for 18 years, and I believe this will take care of our problem. I'm almost pretty sure. The roof also has bubbles in it, where you got the metal insulation, then you got the board on top. Well, the board on top has come loose, and the bubbles are probably, I would say, this tall.
Really?
I mean, they're at least a foot up. And there's probably 8 to 10 of them. So they're gonna take and cut the rubber, reattach that, put a patch over that, and then coat the whole thing. And David Yard is who I talked to about this, and he really was happy with the work that this company did.
Okay. What are your thoughts, gentlemen? You want another quote?
Beats a $150,000 roof.
Ah,
How would they repair the bubbles, do you know? Would they, like, pierce them and cut them out? Would they flatten them? How do you,
He said they would reattach it.
they would reattach?
Yeah,
it's the underlayment
Yeah.
yeah,
popped up.
yeah.
Is that from water or what?
I don't know. I really don't know, but it's,
How big? I mean, a foot high, how big?
I bet that one has probably got to be at least 6 to 8 foot.
Wet, and then the
Sun
hits
hits
it and
it.
everything, and then it arches up due to the expansion, and
But I mean, you don't, I wouldn't feel comfortable walking on it, but it hasn't hurt the rubber part. But also another problem is once you get that from the front to the back of the roof, I bet there's maybe 3 inches of fall
yeah. That's the problem.
if being a flat roof. And what that does is create a void so the water doesn't run to the back. So,
That water runs west to east.
north to south.
It goes south.
It starts from south and goes north.
Oh, it goes all the way across,
Yeah,
100 feet.
yeah.
How long do we plan on keeping that building, do you think? 5 years out at least before probably constructing anything, aren't we? If we even construct.
Hard to say.
I mean, you gotta have a good roof.
We could sell it tomorrow if we wanted to.
Yeah, but we'd have to go somewhere, and that would be millions, so.
And I knew that you guys have been talking about selling the building and stuff like that. So this is probably the best idea for has a warranty. And the guy,
18-year warranty.
and the guy told me, he goes, I've never been called back. Our roof would be different. Just saying, I know how that works.
Yeah.
I don't see any sense of thinking about new roofs or replacement roof. And you haven't had any success finding anybody else that wants to give you a quote either.
No.
Nobody else?
Most of them are talking, wanting to put a new roof on.
Yeah. They're going to guarantee it for 18 years.
Well, and I figured that would get us past the point of if we're 5 or 7 years out.
Well, and it adds to the value if we do sell it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to sell it as quickly with a bad roof as one that's been repaired and it's not leaking, obviously. So, yeah, what do you think? Go for it.
I think I'm good with it.
Yeah, I think so.
There's my motion, I'm good with it.
Second.
That was elegant.
I make a motion that we approve the Black Creek Builders for $27,067 to repair 220 building roof. There you are.
Now, second.
All right, motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? Commissioner Zora Public? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Get them on. How soon can they get on it? Whether weather breaks?
He wants it to be warm weather. That way, when he cleans it and puts that on it, it has good curing time.
Yeah.
And,
One of those patches over those, where they open that up, it's going to have to be,
yeah.
And it needs to be above 55 for that stuff to cure
Yes.
properly.
probably.
Yes, please. I got the original right here. You want that one?
Oh, yeah. That would be great.
Anything else while I'm here?
Can't think of anything.
They are, sir.
Nothing else?
Can't think of a thing.
Good.
Okay,
Great seeing you.
Yep, thank you, guys.
Thanks, Larry.
Don't come back.
Don't come. Not anytime soon, anyway. Okay, Dottie.
Well,
Your turn.
okay. It was going to be the Chris and Dottie show, but now it's not. So let's talk about, speaking of that roof, we had a work comp incident on that roof where, because of the ice and the snow and all the water and, people having to go up and take a look at it. And so it was just simply a record only, but thank goodness the employee let me know, and we did a report. So that's got that taken care of. So we, as of January 31st, we haven't gotten February's numbers. Speaking of work comp, we have 5 open claims, and we had 2 that closed. So anyway, I think insurance trustees will still be happy with us because at least 2 of those open claims have been open for a while. They're just kind of ongoing. They're not new ones. So let's go forward on our recruiting. Central Communications and I had interviews last week for their last open dispatch position. And due to some training that they're finishing up with someone currently, we won't start this new person until March. So it's just going to work out fine for them. And they did make a decision. We had those interviews on Thursday. They made a decision. I talked to the person, and they have accepted. So contingent upon all the background. So that's moving forward. Highway Department is currently fully staffed. However, we have a full-time person retiring in March. And so Ben and I kind of going back and forth about when to start, recruiting for this one. It took us long enough to get others, but, it'll probably take us a while to get that person. But he currently has, a couple new people. So, it's nice, the training time. So he wants to make sure that those guys are feeling pretty good and that his staff is feeling pretty good about the new ones before we move forward. Then we have it'll be mowing season before you know it, especially with weather like this week, but not really. And so Ben and I were talking about, normally he just has a couple guys returning. They're retired people, but they have decided both not to return. So that means that we're going to be recruiting for a couple mowers, and we'll see what happens with that. So, that kind of takes a special person to, those county roads, and there's the ditch, and here's the road, and, so that'll be something we'll work on.
Find a retired farmer.
Yep, exactly. That's the biggest thing. That's exactly what they know. It's like, oh, there's the ditch, there's the traffic. With their combines and things. So, yep, we'll talk about that, I'm sure, this week. Speaking of this week, Jack and I have interviews on Wednesday afternoon for the jail systems administrator. And we had some really good responses with people who had a lot of systems experience, a lot of certificates. Every program has a certificate that, you can take the class online and you get your certificate. So anyway, we're hopeful that we will find somebody. The plan had been for the central communications individual will be retiring at the end of this year. And so the department head and the deputy director were going to take over a lot of those Spillman duties, things like that. But we're talking about maybe going in a different direction with that. So, and then there will also be an opening for the help desk administrator that, and we'll talk about that, a little closer to after he kind of gets that jail systems administrator in place. So Jack is working diligently to make sure that there's a very smooth transition when he leaves us also, which will be the end of the year. So we're working on making sure that there's a good staff left behind. That. The last couple things, Sunny Meadows still has that part-time third shift weekender position, and we're getting resumes, applications on that. I'm not exactly sure when Angela will be prepared to start interviewing. Kind of the first round, she didn't get a lot of, but it's the pendulum swings, and so now she has quite a few resumes that are coming in. So people who currently have full-time jobs during the week, but they're willing to work, a part-time job on the weekends. So we'll see. Confinement officers, that's kind of an open-ended posting that we have. We have 3 new hires coming on board in the next few weeks. I have an onboarding this morning when I leave here, and so they're doing pretty well. What they're trying to do a little bit is what Central has tried to do. Keep the posting out there, have people it takes a while for people to get through their hiring process over there, and knowing what they know about, some of their staffing needs, that way they kind of have a pool. And Central we've tried to do that with Central, and sometimes it doesn't work out because individuals interviewed, and then they interviewed someplace else, and okay, here's a sure thing. And that Central Communications posted, that position, who knows when that one is going to be available. So hasn't always worked out for Central, but we're hoping for confinement officers it does. So that's kind of it for recruitment. It's, of course, about the time I say that, some other department will, need something. And let's see. One more thing that I have is what I had asked when we changed HR assistant about adding a few more hours to that position. It's currently 35 hours a week. We have 24/7, departments that we deal with. I'm not moving toward 40 hours a week, but was wondering what you would think about, say, a 37.5 hour per week position. Maybe we keep the office hours perhaps the same. Person only takes a half an hour for lunch. Just to give us a little bit more time to work on some things. So would like for you guys to keep that in mind, maybe even for this afternoon. When I was hired, I was told it was, the office was 35 hours a week. I was like, wow. But you have, and it has worked 35 hours a week, at least having the office open. Mm-hmm. But, there are a lot of things that are taken care of outside of hours. But
Is that for both employees or?
Well, I'm salaried.
Yeah.
I work Sunday, I work Saturday, I work whenever. So, it doesn't really affect me as much. But, we would have to then, the budget, that would be, 2.5 more hours, or, every week that we would have to think about. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, that's.
But you have that, you would be able to
I
take care
could
of the
take-
budget for this year.
for this year,
And then you would
yep.
just build it in
Yep.
next year's budget during budget season.
Right. Yep. Definitely, I could take care of that. So.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, because we've put something that Chris and I were working on hold, that's all that I have on my agenda for this morning. Anybody?
Oh.
I know. I kind of left a little time because we were going to talk about this thing, but anyway, what do you guys have for me?
Anything for Dottie?
Okay.
All right. Good deal.
Okay. I'll see you guys later.
Okay. And we'll think that over. Yeah. Okay, everyone, let's jump into payroll bi-weekly. You want to pay the people or?
I'll move to approve payroll,
Well, second.
since I signed it already.
A motion and a second to approve payroll. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. A chance to check out the claims?
Few of them. Good to me. What I can tell anyway, I assume, right, Susan?
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to approve claims. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries. And last but not least, the minutes. Chance to read the minutes?
I'll move to approve minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second to approve minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, minutes are approved. Okay, we got time. The miscellaneous topics, the water softener for highway, we might put that off till Ben comes in. I think we have an idea, but get his thoughts on it.
Might as well have him involved.
Weights and measure testing unit. Seraphin is the company. Did I send you, I thought I sent you guys that
Yes.
email, that price on it.
Back of the fan, correct?
Right,
Testing unit.
right.
Not the kind of thing you can get a lot of quotes on.
Yeah.
No,
Pretty specialized.
37 something thousand? Is that it?
30, I have 32,675. Which includes shipping.
So we're still in the shipping it, I know at one time.
What was that shipping, Susan?
2,500, well, that's what it says on here.
Probably not much to install, or what is there involved in installing it? I assume it has to have power run to it, correct? Have pumps?
I think it's gravity drain.
It's gravity, it's just a bolt-in operation then, right? Because by the time you pay someone to go out there, put miles on the vehicle, gas, hotel, you're not gonna do that in one day.
Because that's
Better
what
to
Patrick had suggested, that he would do that.
Yeah,
He thought he could do it for half of that,
yeah.
but you got the depreciation mileage.
What's the chance of getting in an accident out of the area or something? I'd lean towards shipping if it was me. I know that's a lot of money, but maybe, but
And our maintenance,
Where's it at?
New Jersey, I believe,
New
isn't it? Yeah.
yeah.
Who would want to go to New Jersey?
Point
New
there.
Jersey, okay. New York, no. But,
Would never be the same after that.
yeah, that's true. I don't know. I mean, you wouldn't burn that much gas. You'd burn what, $400 fuel. But like I said, you're still going to need a hotel. And
Direct cost would probably be half of that, but still, I mean, it's,
I'd like it shipped here, my personal opinion, but just to avoid any complication. This is a lot of money to ship, though. What does that thing weigh?
I don't know. I don't know if that was in the specs.
The reason I asked, well, it fits in the back of that van. I think someone
I wonder if we need, if it's that heavy, maybe there's some reinforcement or so forth that needs to be done. We had the situation with the coroner's van with that cot system. The stock van floor wasn't reinforced enough to hold the weight of that cot system.
Really?
So we had to have some extra work done with that, so.
I don't think that'll be necessary. That van will, 3/4 ton. I can't imagine that unit weighs more than about 1,000 pounds back here.
He did say they would, of course, install it
Yeah.
out there.
Whatever you think. You're the one that was been,
Installation's included in the price? Well,
changes things a little bit.
yeah.
Well,
But
we got a couple other issues. Where do we pay it out of? For one thing. How are we going to pay for it? What do we have?
I have included it in, because we had to do additional appropriations for the van and for the truck for development services. So I received this in time that I've included it in the additional appropriation request out of cumulative capital development. I mean, I can't tell you that the council will say yes, but it's going to them.
Okay.
logical.
That would be, yeah, the best place for it to come from.
Maybe it'd be best to let them install it out there, and that way we know it's correct, it's installed, and
That would be, yeah, would be one advantage.
they can probably knock it out in a few hours, whereas we might mess with it for a few days, and,
And I assume it's just one night layover,
yeah.
hopefully. But
I think that's probably the wise decision.
as long as our insurance is in place and then appropriate for taking it out of state, out of
Oh,
county,
yeah.
shouldn't be no
Yeah,
problem.
no, it'd be covered anywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably not in a foreign country, but New Jersey could be.
Jersey's kind of a foreign country. Andrew's going, what are you guys?
Turn that mic on, please.
Having just been to New Jersey this past summer, you're not going to get out there in a one-day drive. And if you do, you're going to be paying overtime. And I don't know, as an employee, you're not going to want somebody driving more than 8 hours. But you're also, the only way out there, or the best way out there, is also the toll road.
Yeah.
So you're going to have some expenses there. So you're going to
you have
have at
two.
least 3 nights in a hotel if you,
That'd be 2,
well, one night there, but well,
1 day out.
for 1 day out, you're going to spend, then there, spend the night, then on the way back, you're going to spend the night again. So, you're probably getting close to $2,000 anyway.
That's
So-
a good point, because the tolls alone is probably 150 each
Yeah.
way. It's ridiculous what they
Yeah,
raise
it
those
is,
tolls to.
especially once you get into Pennsylvania.
Yeah, they just rip it
Ohio's
up.
not so bad, but Pennsylvania, then crossing the bridge between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So,
Okay.
That's something to consider.
Yeah, there is some risk there. We don't really want that van wrecked out there in New
Yeah.
Jersey.
exactly.
And that puts us out of business.
Yeah. 'Cause
You can wreck it going out to I-69.
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
Yeah, but
I think there's some merit to having the factory installed, I think.
Yeah. Maybe we should talk about that a little more, how we want to handle it, but I think we should accept the quote,
yeah, let's
Yeah.
accept the quote,
Get
get it ordered, and
and
then
then we'll decide how
I'll
to
get,
get
I'll
it.
get with Pat.
Maybe
call-
talk to Patrick, say, hey, Patrick, let's lay out the miles, because like Rick said, I can do that drive in 8 hours, no problem, but I also, when I put my mind to, I just can't stand it. Now, I don't expect someone else to do that.
Yeah,
And like I said, safety, after about 8 hours of driving, you start to,
yeah.
Yeah.
especially that
And
driving.
we've driven to Connecticut in 1 day.
Oh, yeah.
But it's more than 8 hours,
Yeah,
quite a bit more. Yeah.
but he's hourly paid too, not salaried, so, no, he's salaried?
Sorry.
Oh, okay, so technically there's no overtime then. Forgot about that, he is salaried.
Okay.
So you
yeah.
motion to accept
Yeah,
it?
my motion would be to accept the bid for the unit for weights and measures.
Delivery and install to be determined.
Yeah, and yeah, install to be determined.
I'll
What was the
second.
amount again, just so I can make it for 32,
32,675, including the shipping.
including shipping, which is
Okay,
variable if on our decision.
let's go with including the shipping, and then we can pull that out.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, we have motion second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed the same, motion carries.
We also have our new maintenance guy that I'm sure could put that in, no problem.
That's, yes,
It's right in his wheelhouse, I'm sure, so.
So,
right.
do you want to sign this one, Bill? And then I need to get it somewhere, or?
Thank you.
Or
Get it to
who?
Patrick.
Okay.
Yeah. Ma'am? Okay. Another one there, Mike. Well, we're right on time. Insurance trustees, you are up. Good morning.
Yep. Come on up and turn your mics on.
Mic on, put your mics up.
Morning.
Out to you guys real quick.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good. How are you?
Morning.
Thank you, Kyle.
Kyle, how are you? Good.
All right, good morning. Good to be with you guys here. What I just passed out is the current coverages that we'll review today. Before I hop into the liability, property coverages, things of that nature, some other topics to discuss. One that came up in January here recently was the ongoing work comp claim for the policeman that threw the ball. And he has, in late January, I believe, filed a lawsuit, no initial demand with the lawsuit, but has filed a lawsuit for presumably more pay or partial disability payouts, whatever that is. So a couple of things there. There's a statute of limitations on work comp claims where once you run your statute of limitations, that claim is over, and then it just is what it is. Once they file a lawsuit, that statute of limitations no longer exists, and now it's a legal matter, and it just keeps moving on. So we found out about that. He had a couple surgeries with this claim, and we got some more information. He had an initial rotator cuff surgery and did not heal well after it, and they could not figure out why he was having issues. They found out that he had an infection from the first surgery that was causing pain and lack of healing, so he had to go back in for a second surgery, and it's just kind of been drug on since then. I did get confirmation from IPEP that they've had a case manager on it since the beginning, and they've had surveillance on the individual, checked all the medical records, so we just are where we are in this one. It's going on 3 years. The good news is it's a large claim, but starting next experience mod cycle, when we factor that new experience mod, it'll fall off the claim regardless. So no matter where this thing heads, it's no longer going to affect us in a negative way. So that's a positive thing. We're going to see that experience mod drop next time it's cycled like we've talked about. So more than anything, just want to give you guys an update as that one keeps going. So a couple other items. First of all, DeKalb County's loss ratio for the prior 3 years, we have got 354,000 in losses. Sounds like a lot at first glance. It's actually a 32% loss ratio, which is viewed very favorably in the industry. If an account has 50% loss ratio or less, they're considered profitable in a good account for the carriers. So, we're doing a really nice job internally at DeKalb with the safety meetings that are being done monthly. I've been able to be a part of those, which has been great. And Mike has been a part of those as well. And getting those department heads in the same room just to talk about what's going on and what their risks are and exposures are, I think has been a huge benefit in helping limit these claims. Normally we talk through any open work comp claims that we have so we can make sure that people are getting handled properly, getting back to work accordingly. And then some other big ticket items we're working with on that safety committee is we're working on a new employee handbook for the county employees, and then an OSHA-specific training template where we're going to break down with each department head what departments need what, because someone sitting in a chair all day is different than county highway versus police. And then even drilling down within that department, what are the different job exposures within that department, and trying to really get a good matrix for what trainings we need for OSHA to mandate, and then also what are just the risks that we've identified on top of that to make sure we're taking care of them. So I think overall, Mike, hopefully you'd agree, I think those safety meetings have been a huge benefit. Yeah.
What did you say that experience mod was?
I don't have it right now because we did that in January.
Oh, I thought you said it. Never
No,
mind.
no. So I think it's a 1.3 roughly, but next cycle when we come to January, it's going to drop because that bad year is going to fall off and a
Okay.
good year is going to come on.
We want to be at 1.
We want to be below 1 in a perfect world.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, 1's industry standard or kind of what the benchmark is. We'd love to be below that to pass along those savings and have safer environment for the guys.
I have a question.
Sure.
354,000 in loss, is that actual money they paid out, or is it like health insurance where they say the administrative cost was 150,000 and we paid out 150,000?
No, this is going to be, they will have what they've paid out and they'll have reserves. So that's a mixture of both.
So there's some reserves in there
There are
too?
some reserves on whatever the open claims are. Yeah.
If I could comment just real briefly on the safety committee and actually the county's experience. A number of years ago, I think if you spin the clock back probably 7 or 8 years ago, we were having some challenges with losses within the county. And with the help of the commissioners, you know, you guys, typically safety committees work when the leadership pushes it down. It says, we endorse this, this is something that's important to us, and we want you guys to buy into it. So the fact that you guys are blessing this is really important to continue to do that. It's really, you know, more than any other thing that can be done, knowing that you guys want it to happen. You know, all the stuff that we do, all the stuff that a risk manager does are secondary to the fact that you guys are endorsing this, and this is an expectation within the county. And I've seen it, you know, in my years of experience with not only you, but with other companies that are large carrier companies that have 2,000 or 3,000 employees, that they might have auto issues, they may have work comp issues, they may have a number of issues that could occur. And when the ownership or the management of the company pushes it down and say, yeah, we need to correct this, we're behind it, we'll do whatever it takes to fix this, it works. And I applaud you guys for being involved with it and making sure that it happens. So thank you for that.
So we have
Your participation in those meetings, and I mean, Kyle's there at every meeting and bringing IPAP in, and, you know, the service we've gotten is very impactful, I think.
Thank you. So, like we said, we've got a 32% loss ratio for over the last 3 years. To put that into perspective, I spoke with Liberty Mutual's underwriting manager last week. They have a 5-year loss ratio for public entities of 97%.
97?
97. So they are losing money, which is not what their MO is, over the last 5 years, and that's Indiana-specific public entities. So when we talk about the market being troubled, tough to find coverages, deductibles going up, that's the reason for it. So it's not a DeKalb County-specific problem. It's an industry, problem currently. So, like Mike said, applaud to DeKalb County for doing the right things and having, a favorable outlook on these renewals. So, next item is that the biggest hurdle for us, or the biggest topic at this renewal, was the county home. We knew that Liberty Mutual was the last carrier that would offer that coverage for us, and they indicated 45 days ago that they were going to non-renew that portion of the coverage. That has created, the county homes, Sunny Meadows is interesting. Just the size of it, it's tough to gain coverage because it's a smaller size. We did go to market once they told us about non-renewing that piece of 45 days ago to about 20 different carriers, specialty carriers that do that type of coverage. And the next hurdle we ran into, we had 4 or 5 that were on the hook that we thought we'd have good options with. We found out a couple weeks ago that the county home wasn't licensed with the Department of Health, and every single quote option that we received at that time needed licensure as a subjectivity to bind the policy. So that was a big development for us here recently that we didn't know about. So there's a couple things we could do. I know from talking with Andrew, he was a wealth of knowledge on this information. Sounds like a lot of the other county homes have partnered with third-party medical providers if needed, so that there's actual medical staff performing some of those duties versus just the director, whoever it is, with no credentials. But we do have one carrier that we spoke with this last week that understands the licensing gap, and that there's a state statute that we're standing on as why we haven't needed that license. And they are comfortable with that exposure in that statute, and we're still working with them to get that coverage in place. There's just a lot of it's underwriting intensive with that. The applications are 15, 20 pages, and there's a lot of questions that are specific on them.
Would this be a separate policy from our general liability policy then? A different company completely?
Exactly.
Instead of throwing it all under one umbrella, we're going to source out that to a different company altogether.
Liberty's been comfortable with that exposure. They were the only one that was.
Right.
And now finally they have said we're not interested in insuring that exposure. So that's going to have to be another policy separate just for Sunny Meadows is the direction for that.
And it's interesting to me that there hasn't really been any claims that I've heard of coming out of there, right? So it's not a claims arising scaring the carriers off sort of thing. It's just the underwriters getting more savvy about it, maybe.
I think if there were claims, they would have jumped off it a long time ago. We've kind of rode the coattails with no claims, and it hasn't been an issue, but Liberty Mutual organizationally is no longer insuring county homes. That's just a hard stance they have. Travelers the same way. It's very common with the other carriers. They were just one of the late adopters.
I think one of the things to consider in that, and what an insurance company is looking at in this is, you look at the probability and the possibility of a claim. We really have low probability, but their possibility is there. And then if there is a claim, what the likelihood of a claim would be significant. Mm-hmm. And that's really what, I mean, it could be easily, it could be a 7-figure claim, depending on what it is and what would occur. So I think that's really and the sad thing for me is, I can't tell you how thankful that our county has one, because I think we're taking care of the least of these, which I think is required of us is who we are as Christians in a community. And so I'm so grateful that you guys continue to do that. So it's a challenge, though, and there's challenges ahead of you. So, but I thank you for your willingness to take care of them.
I think you're fortunate to have a carrier that's even willing to talk about it. I mean, most of the carriers have no appetite for anything less than standard risk coverage or better.
I will tell you that, and you all know, that Kyle leads the work on this, and he has spent hours and days of trying and turning over stones, and we talk about all this, and he says, I'm going to try this next, I'm going to try this next. So the amount of effort that he puts in this has just been incredible on your behalf. Yep. So I'm grateful for that.
Couple of things I want to bring up and mention that maybe would reduce our risk factor in that facility is there has been a handicap ramp installed to that facility, and we've just completed remodeling of the showers, and they are handicap accessible in every way. And before we didn't have that. They were not in very good shape, and getting in and out of them handicapped-wise was not what it should have been. So it has occurred. Those have been brought up to handicap standards. So I don't know if that helps or not, but if they ask the question, you can say, yeah, it's.
I think it's part of the story we tell the underwriter and why they should underwrite or why they should offer a quote. I think the dumping capital or making those improvements shows that we're trying to do the right things there, which is something we have communicated with them.
Okay.
At the end of the day, there's the carriers, the licensing was kind of a hard stop for most of them. We had 4 or 5 on the hook, and as soon as we communicated the lack of licensing, the next email was we decline.
What do they mean by licensing?
So all these homes, the insurance carriers would say need to be licensed with the Department of Health. And then the Department of Health.
Department of Health or the state?
IDOH.
Yeah.
Probably as a nursing home.
As a nursing home.
I see.
Yes.
I got you.
Yep.
We've
And
been able
so-
to avoid that.
All right.
We've been able to skirt that, and so the lack of licensing, and then what that licensing does is they're subject to inspections yearly, and those inspection reports get sent to the carriers. They make sure everything's being done correctly, and it's kind of their checkbox to make sure it's on the up and up. We didn't have any of that documentation ability to show anybody.
I think it's another tool of professional training. How well we've trained our staff. We have safety standards set in place. We have, the what ifs all covered, and so forth. So that's really what that means. So, and my understanding that there's 7 other county
I think it's 7.
7.
Somebody had told me they're all the other ones have contracted with like a Northeastern Center or Bowman Center to run it.
And that was the point I was going to make. Either they have been leased the facility to a nursing home, or they have contracted with the hospital to actually run the home. But again, at one time there probably were 92 in the state, but now we're down to 7. It was 11 when I started looking at this, and I had somebody at the county home for over 25 years. And we've always had an excellent service there. It did surprise me, Bill, when I found out that we were putting a ramp in And we tried to put a ramp in back years ago when I was EMS director, and probably the backs that you were going to save had more to do with the EMS people or the fire department people that were bringing people in and out of there than anything. But we were told at the time we couldn't add it if we weren't going to make the entire building ADA compliant, which would be monumental in its cost. Because the steps leading to the second floor aren't the right or the correct rise. The bathrooms have been fixed, the ramp's there, but there's still so many other issues. But it is a great service. It's a great service, and we've kind of let it kind of just hang there for a long time without making any significant improvements until this bathroom issue and the ramp issue. But there are still things that need to be addressed. And I know that the health department was making complaints because they were having to go out there and administer meds and do things. They don't do that anymore. But we were also accepting clients that may not be appropriate to that facility. And we changed that a number of years ago, where they're now a new client coming in has an evaluation by an occupational therapist before they're allowed in. So at least we know we've got the appropriate clientele in there.
They have to be able to, I think, walk on their own and
activities
yes.
of daily living, as
Yes.
they're required to do activities of daily living. But years ago, we were allowed to let them help in the kitchen. They stopped us from doing that. We were allowed to let them help us do laundry and things where they were actually, it was a family, and they operated as a family. Now, unfortunately, what do? They can go outside and walk around, or they can sit and watch television because they can't participate in anything. So it's the changes that have been made. So anyway.
It's kind of odd that they require a license as a nursing home because it's not a nursing home. It's more of just strictly assisted living, right? I mean,
Well, it's actually operating in a bit of a gray area.
Yeah.
And we came awfully close last year. There was an inspector from the state that came. I was able to call and get it resolved, and I think it got resolved because we were a county home, but it was awfully close to where they were going to start requiring licensure. So I'm just telling you, the state has had one touch with us last year.
okay, moving on.
So, like you said, it's a unique thing to insure. It doesn't really fit in a lot of just the general boxes that the insurance market puts out. But because Liberty just let us know 45 days ago about non-renewing this piece of it, we appealed back to them and said that they did not give us adequate time to go find coverage for the county, and they agreed. They said that, this is a unique exposure that they want to do well on their end as well. So they gave us a 90-day extension with coverage there so that we can go source this elsewhere. And we've done, like Mike said, I can't tell you how many tens of hours of work in getting this coverage in place. And I think we are towards the finish line. But there are some applications. Angela Brown has become my best friend, whether she likes it or not, with some of these applications. So I'm going to have to follow up with her as well to, get some of these questions answered and make sure we're representing it properly. But I do think we're in a good spot to get that coverage in the next 90 days, hopefully sooner than that. So,
Larry, you have a comment?
Oops. Hi, I'm Larry Williams. I'm 2418 Woodland Trail, Auburn. Couple questions. To me, as I listen to what Rick is saying about other county homes being licensed as nursing homes, that may be the best practice now. I don't know, but something to keep in mind. But we are where we are in the situation. Can you tell me if there are any state risk pools that would be insurance risk pools that would cover that kind of risk? No. Okay. Nothing like that. The other question I would have is, you mentioned, I think, another company that might be willing to take on that risk. Is the premium on that, could that be paid out of the DeKalb County Department of Health funds? There may not be an answer right now to that. There may be, but I'm curious if that if you're separating that insurance between two different policies, if that might be funded by the DeKalb County.
I think that's a funding issue, whether, we don't care where we get the money.
No, right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's
it's
a
not-
question to our
Yeah, right.
local
That wouldn't
leaders. here.
fall under the health department budget at all.
No.
No, it would not.
So the current
Right.
premiums
Right.
are separated. Health pays theirs, highway pays theirs.
Right.
But the county home is not in a special fund.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
funded by special funds, so it wouldn't.
It couldn't be transferred, in other words. And I thought that would be the answer, but at least I wanted to get that into the public discussion, right?
Correct, because the health department doesn't, they don't run it, they don't have anything to do with it.
Correct, right. But they are governed by
Right.
some requirements. Basically, that's all I had to ask. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Okay, moving on.
So we believe we have a good beat on a carrier that's going to help us with this coverage. We have some more work to get that done, but we have done, I believe we're 80-90% into that process to get that done. So I'll reach out to Angela, like I have been, just with some more updates on it. Okay, so that's the county home piece of it that kind of was a big part of this renewal process for us as we're planning and trying to figure out what was the best option for you guys. We go to market, most carriers will accept submissions 120 days out, which is common in our industry. Before that, we reach out to all the carriers that we work with. I know you guys are familiar with the Hill Group and our affiliation with them, and that allows us to access each of these carriers in the marketplace. Before 120 days, we'll speak with these different carriers and say, hey, here's our risk at a 30,000-foot view. Are you interested? You're in the municipality, public sector world. What's your appetite for something like this? A lot of them will, say we're not interested. We're not writing counties right now. We're writing cities, we're writing schools, we're not writing counties, or whatever their answers are. So we whittled that laundry list down to 7 carriers that we submitted to this year. From those 7 that we submitted to, the feedback was that 3 wanted to move forward with trying to provide a quote. One of those is Liberty Mutual with a renewal quote, and then also Travelers and a company by the name of Trident. Trident got into the process, did their underwriting, and decided they were not going to be competitive. They kind of waved the white flag and just said, appreciate the opportunity, keep us in mind in the future, but we are not going to offer a quote because the target premium you're giving us is, we can't even be close to that. On the other hand, Travelers was very excited about the opportunity and worked really well along the process. They sent out an in-person loss control rep that about a month ago, me and him hit each different department, spent about 45 minutes with each department. He was asking questions and trying to paint you guys in the best light to underwriting and give us the best opportunity to write the account with Travelers. He did a really nice job. We knew up front that Travelers was going to carve out the county home. That was a given. Also the Change Academy. They weren't going to offer an opportunity for that. But they thought that they would be able to extend a quote for everything else. We found out last week that they did not extend a quote for the law enforcement coverage, which is a big piece of what we do. It's a huge premium driver of what we do. The reasons why, in the jail inspection report, they found that there were issues with the doors, automatic doors malfunctioning, overcrowding was another reason, and then plumbing issues. Those are the 3 things of why they were not able to extend a quote in the end. They had a quote ready, and the underwriting manager saw the inspection report and just said, we're not going to offer it this time. So that's another complexity that we're working through. We have other markets that we can write that through, and that's not an issue, and we're already working on that and have one quote, but it's more expensive than what Travelers was going to offer and what Liberty's offering. So we're going to go to some other markets as well and try to find the best option available for the law enforcement coverage itself. So we'll get into this Liberty Mutual renewal and some specifics on it. But what our intent is to take advantage of Liberty Mutual's 90-day extension for the county home and to gain coverage for the county home through a carrier, and then also get a better option for the law enforcement, knowing what we know from Travelers, and then reevaluate the package as a whole, and then look to potentially 4/1 or whatever that time is inside this 90-day window. Look to potentially move the coverage away from Liberty if it makes sense in the dollars and cents wise and coverage wise to Travelers and these other carriers that we've come up with. So that's kind of our initial plan, because we can't move away from Liberty knowing what we know with the county home at the moment.
But one of the things I recommend that we do is give you guys, maybe come here maybe in 30 or 90 days, 45 days again, and give you a status, especially where we're at on the quote for the county home. Because if this application that we have to complete would come up with something additional, then there'd have to be maybe some action on your behalf to do something. You know, again, I would say that we've kind of, as I've shared with you in the past, we represent every market that there are. And I think we've reached out to them. So I'm not sure there's any stone that hasn't been turned. You know, and anyone that would say contrary to that, you know, I've been a salesman my whole life. So.
The Travelers does, the rest of the coverages through Travelers do look competitive. They also have lower deductible options than what Liberty Mutual extended for the renewal. So I think there's a couple of reasons why the Travelers option is going to be advantageous for us here once we can package everything up and get it ready to move forward with. So that's still TBD in that timeline. We're working as quickly as we can. We know we have the 90-day window. We don't want to wait 90 days just to wait. So we'll keep working proactively now. And then once that time's ready, we can present to you guys again. Okay. Anything else to add there, Mike, on that? Okay.
You have any questions about the process or anything we haven't answered about what we've done so far?
No, I appreciate the effort that you're put into this to take care of the county. I have a very good sense of the time and effort it takes to put something like this together on this scale. So, I appreciate your service to the county from an insurance standpoint for many, many years. Just happened to have breakfast with Ron Dickey last week and got a little bit of the history going back to when you all took this account over. So the work you've done is much appreciated.
Thank you.
Have any questions
No.
at this point? Okay.
Okay. So let's move into the Liberty Mutual portion of it. Not a ton of changes, but there are some deductible changes I want to make you guys aware of here as we roll through it. That first page is the property section. We increased the property 4% for automatic increase for inflation. All carriers are doing that now. We actually, if you step back, we had talked about a 15 to 18% increase from Liberty Mutual is what they indicated. Now, when we talk about increase, there's exposures. When things go up and you add new things, cost goes up. And there's net rate, which is what they talk about. And that's just same thing, it's going to be up 15 to 18%. We actually saw only a 9% increase on their net rate this year. So they told us 15 to 18. They gave us the extension on the county home, and they really did much better on the rate than they originally indicated, which is, good on them to help us out in this renewal. But 4% increase on the property for just the auto inflation. We saw an 8% net increase, which I can tell you is well below industry average from what other carriers are offering. The second page there is our statement of values. So we've got 58 million, just over 58 million in buildings, just over 8 million in contents for a total of 66 million, over 66 million. So that's what we're working with on this property page. This property section. Liberty Mutual's property deductible is $15,000. The indication we got from Travelers when working with them was that they were going to offer a $10,000 property deductible. So that's, something to note. That's going to be a common theme as we work through this, is that Travelers deductibles are lower than what Liberty Mutual is extending to us. We have the Spencerville Bridge broken out there at $1 million. We have earthquake and flood coverage at $1 million. Ordinance and law coverage for $2 million. Mike, do you want to just give a brief ordinance and law, kind of how that's going to apply to them with some of these larger, older buildings?
Yeah, one of the insurance policies are written on like, kind, and quality. So what you have here is what they're is only what they're obligated to replace. This building is not a sprinkler building, and if something were to happen that there was a significant claim in this, it could be that there's an ordinance or law that would require us to sprinkler the building. And we have other buildings like that throughout the county. This coverage will give us up to $2 million to pay the difference between what was there and what's required to be there. So that's a significant coverage. Any business should have this coverage and have significant amounts because laws change.
So we'll replace the building like we have in the limits, but that is extra coverage there when they have to redo the construction in a different way to help meet that claim. One thing to note here is we do have a $50,000 water damage deductible, and then all the rage in our industry right now is something called a wind-hail deductible. Because we're having more and more, they call them convective storms. Even Northern Indiana, who's really never had that issue, has had some of those in prior 2 or 3 years. It's a big reason why Liberty Mutual had a 97% loss ratio of these windstorms that come through. So all carriers are adding some type of wind-hail deductible. Liberty Mutual's at $100,000 is pretty aggressive. I mean, that's their lowest that they're offering now. They filed for that, they can't give us a lower one. But Travelers has indicated they gave us a $10,000 wind-hail deductible, which is in line with their property deductible. So once again, we're taking that increased deductible for this period of time, but just want to make you guys aware of that change.
Cases come from the storm around and say, oh, you got a peck on your roof there, and we can get you a whole new roof, and oh, I see a dent in your gutter, we'll get you new gutters, and you know what I'm saying? I think that's driven a lot. I'm not sure we're getting more storms. I think people are more savvy. People in the repair business are more savvy at working than insurance companies.
One of the things you have to consider, if there's ever a major event occur in an area, if we would have a tornado come through here, if it would cost you $100,000 to fix something prior to the storm,
Right.
when the storm occurs, that repair is going to be $150.
Yeah.
Because the demand goes so high, all the prices go through the roof. And so that's one of the things that we always has to come in, and it's really hurt companies because there has, in the last couple of years, the number of national disasters, so to speak, have increased significantly. Every year feels like it's a record year. So, and especially in Florida.
Yeah.
So if we go to the statement of values, this is the location by building breakout of the building limits, the contents limits that we have there. These building limits, in yesteryear, you could set that from what you want them to be. Now carriers are dictating based off square footage and type of construction what they want those limits to be. So we're in a good spot there. One thing that Liberty's added this year is what they call a roof coverage actual cash value endorsement. So replacement cost for a building, if damage is done, we're going to replace it for new for whatever that cost is. Actual cash value adds in depreciation at time of claim, which lowers the payout at time of claim. Some of these larger, older roofs, the insurance carriers are taking a bath on having to replace them with new when they're older, vulnerable roofs. So they've added this actual cash value endorsement. The good thing about it is they cap it at 15%. So you can't have an old roof where they say, hey, it's 60% depreciated, we're only going to pay 40%. They have this endorsement, but you're going to get at least 85, if not 100, depending upon depreciation of the roof. So once again, just another small thing that Liberty added at renewal this year that we didn't have last year.
Does that also depreciate things other than the roof, like the building itself? or
Specific to the roof only.
Just the roof?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
The 15%, that's fairly reasonable. 40-year-old roof is a worn-out roof.
Yeah.
So if they're going to give you 85% on a 40-year roof, I'll take that all day.
Yeah. They got tired of paying 100%, I think.
Yeah.
And they're not the only one this is common in the industry. It's just the first time Liberty's
Sure.
done this for the county.
It's just.
I got a question on the new highway construction facility. How does that transfer? We anticipate moving into that in June, but a lot of that is already there, and I'm sure it's insured by the contractor.
And you're talking about the new highway?
Yes.
Yeah, we have a builder's risk policy separate that's on that. So that builder's risk policy just runs until the completion date. And then once the completion date's done, we move it on to the county policy.
Okay, the old buildings, is that automatically canceled? The old location?
Over on Ensley?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we have contents coverage there because the county highway is still operating out of it, but those buildings are insured elsewhere.
Okay.
All right. Next page is the inland marine section. We have, then the following couple pages are all the spreadsheets that Susan in our office keeps up to date for you guys and working with the department heads. Then we make those changes with the carrier in real time, so it's always up to date. We have just over 3.5 million for the mobile equipment. You can go right down the list there to see all the different coverages. One nice thing that Liberty does is they have miscellaneous unscheduled equipment per item for 100,000. What does that mean? It means that we are very diligent in listing everything that the county owns for inland marine, which means it's property you're taking off premises, is what that coverage is for. They have this coverage that if there's one item up to 100,000 they don't know about and it's unscheduled, they're still gonna pay us for it. So if there's a Bobcat, if there's a whatever it is, that's a high number for that coverage and really a nice bonus for us as the highway department and everyone else is doing what they're doing. So something to be mindful of. I don't want to just completely dog Liberty. There are some good things in here as well, so. Right.
Just to be clear, Kyle, we've had inland marine coverage for,
We've had inland marine coverage
Forever.
since the
Oh,
beginning
yeah.
of time, yeah.
I knew that
Yeah.
our last renewal, we went through it, so when I heard that, didn't quite understand where that came from, but.
Yeah, it's listed on the property, so if you're not
Right.
familiar with Liberty or reading the policy well, you could miss it, I guess,
Yeah.
but it's always been in there.
One of the things I would encourage us to do is someone to take an inventory of the items that we have on it and see if anything, your asset sheet matches up with this, things that would be mobile, especially within a highway department or anything like that, because it's easy, it can happen. Somebody thinks they sent it in and they just didn't, it didn't happen.
Is a dual axle dump truck considered an inland marine mobile?
No,
It's
that's
not.
on
We're
the
just
auto
talking about
schedule.
equipment that gets moved somewhere, right?
Yeah, now a plow on the front of it could be something like that,
Considered
but
that.
the actual vehicle itself would be on the auto schedule,
Yeah.
yeah.
We lose the plow, we can afford that. We can't afford to lose the
Right.
$300,000 truck.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
All right. Someone could steal that 10,000-pound plow. I'd like to watch you do
Yeah,
it,
good
so.
luck, right?
Exactly. One of the things, again, we have notices here, like we have handguns, rifles, shotguns, tasers, and they say are on file with the company. I wouldn't be surprised that we've updated those in the
Oh, I'm
last
sure.
couple of years. And so I don't know that we've updated that, or, and maybe they have, but I've not seen it. But it's historically, we get them and they're not updated on a regular basis. So I would encourage us to maybe take a peek at that.
Yeah, well, there was a big push by Jan a few years back to do some of that record keeping and admin piece of it that we were helping her with. So whatever we can do to keep pushing that, maybe it's just meeting with the department heads routinely, or whatever that is, so that we're keeping that list accurate is great. Once again, the reason I mentioned that unscheduled miscellaneous item up to 100,000 is for what Mike's talking about right now. There's so many items to keep track of. That's a nice security blanket for the county coverage, so. All right, the next section is the crime section. Nothing major to note here. Employee theft, we have a $250,000 deductible. Theft of money and securities inside the premises, $75,000. Not generally a huge issue. Nowadays, outside the premises, $75,000. Anything note there, Mike, that jumps out at you?
No.
Pretty standard stuff. Liability.
I am
go
going to
ahead.
pause one
Yeah.
thing. The inside and outside the premises typically considered cash. It can be other things. I know there could be days that, and I know we have police escort that takes when we go to make deposits, but will we ever exceed the $75,000?
Question for the treasurer. Big cash day of people.
And I think we did change that a year or two back.
We did.
We did, yeah.
I think
we
it was
upped that.
bumped a couple years ago, but doesn't mean it may not be. It's easy to change, not an expensive coverage. It's just making sure we have the right number on
And are you
That would be-
talking 75,000 in actual cash or cash and checks?
Both.
both.
So it's gonna, would have to verify with Sandy, but it's gonna depend on the time of year. I'm sure in May and November, it's,
higher than that.
could be way higher than that. But other days of the year, probably not.
It's not, the likelihood of it happening is going to be pretty small.
Yeah,
But I'd hate to have it, you'd have 200,000 or 250,000, and we have 70, you could go to 150,000 probably for $300 or $400.
That raised another question. What about where we accept tax payments, like CSB accepts our tax payments for us on property tax? Who's liable for that cash? In other words, is that, they're doing that for a service for us, but I assume on their end, are they liable for it then, or does our insurance cover it?
You have a contract with them?
I'm sure we do, but I've never read it. That was before my time, so.
I would assume the contract addresses that.
yeah. I would assume theirs would cover in-house
Because if their
transactions.
employee steals our tax
Because
money.
it'd have to be, it'd have to be,
We have a
They
little,
pay
we have a
cash to the
conflict to
bank, and
address
it's an
that.
ACH transfer into our account,
Right.
so there's really no opportunity for,
But if they steal it at the teller window is what
yeah,
I'm saying,
well,
say,
yeah.
I think a prudent bank would have coverage for the employee theft.
I would
Yeah.
think so. But just something to think, times are crazy.
And I know that CSB is a prudent bank.
yes.
what do you think? Should we jump that to 150?
It's a small.
I'm asking, I'm verifying with Sandy right now.
I would want to get some numbers from Sandy, but checks to me, I know he said, well, cash and checks, but checks are made out to DeKalb County. Any bank that cashes a stolen check from DeKalb County isn't a bank, so.
And I would assume you'd have a record of those. So if
Yeah.
when my wife writes a check for our property taxes.
Yeah.
You register that and it's on your daily register.
Right.
Yeah.
So, if you're robbed, you're gonna call me right away and
Right.
say, that check was stolen. I'm gonna stop payment on it.
Right. Yeah, I'm not,
I suspect the number of people who actually pay cash on
It's
property
going down
taxes
all
is
the
pretty small.
But stranger things have happened in our world today. Someone can, these are smarter than they used to be, I think, or maybe they just have more technology available to them. And so
not
that,
smart, they're crafty.
yeah, there you go. I agree. So can they, even though it's been mailed out to you, can they change that and it doesn't look like it's been changed? I don't know the answer to that. And working in this industry for as long as we have, your mind thinks of weird things that could happen. Because sometimes, we had a client that had that happen. They had a check that they wrote for $12,000 and they got cashed multiple times for 125 total, to different names. So crazy things happen.
Okay.
Get those numbers from Sandy and then we'll.
Yeah.
We'll advise.
Real quick.
I'm Lita Hollinger, I'm the recorder. There's 3 offices, I'm not going to name which ones, that do deposit money. It used to be a group effort where one took it. We've changed our routine because of State Board of Accounts, so it is 3 different going. So there isn't as much cash and checks going at one time.
That's good to know. Thanks, Alita. Okay.
All right. Next page to talk through is the general liability section will be at the top. It's all of our liability coverages we list. We have $1 million, $2 million for the general liability, then we have our $5 million umbrella that sits on top of it. Public officials liability sits underneath the umbrella as well, so we have $6 million for any one occurrence. The public official employment practices, that does not sit under the umbrella, so that's why it's a inflated or a higher limit there at $5 million. That coverage is based off of employee counts, and we had 356 employees in the prior policy year. They've indicated for this year that's 419 employees. So it's about an 18% jump in employee count, which is the rating basis for that coverage. So we confirmed that, I believe, with Susan confirming that. So that's just one thing to note. Employee benefits liability sits underneath the umbrella. And then the law enforcement liability, this is where we saw a big jump in the premium. One, because law enforcement liability is just going up in general, which is part of the reason why travelers wouldn't even offer a quote. You can imagine in our society now, the viewpoint for law enforcement is different than it used to be at times. And so when they're getting into these judgments, they're a lot higher and they're paying out a lot more money than they used to. one other thing to note, we had 61 law enforcement employees last year. We have 75 this year. So on an expensive coverage, that was a 23% increase in employee count. And the way they do that or rate that is they have different classes of employees. So someone that sits behind a desk working for the police is going to be much lower. Someone, engaging in the field is going to be a lot higher, right? And almost all of those new employees were in that higher class. So we did see a jump. When we get to the pricing page, you'll see it. But the law enforcement prices for the industry have gone up, and then with the county are going up just from the employee count as well.
Million enough in law enforcement? I mean, that almost seems
Yeah,
just
that,
enough to pay the lawyer.
that sits underneath the umbrella. So we have 6 million with the
$6
$5
million
million
total.
umbrella. Yeah. Good
Still
question.
is light. That could be light.
Andrew, are there statutes that protect?
Well, you've got the Tort Claims Act that they've got to comply with. People have to make a tort claim within 6 months, or they lose their overall 2-year statute of limitations to make a claim. But as far as the cap, I remember with the state of Indiana, I think there was like a $5 million cap for the, when the stage fell down at Indianapolis. But I haven't had to research what the cap is for counties. My guess would be the same, but I can look that up, see if there's a cap.
Something to think about.
I think that's good information to have. I think
Yep,
that
I'll
what
look
I've seen
into
in the
that.
past, my understanding that, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So
I know it's for the state, and a lot of times those caps kind of come down for all the municipalities underneath too, but I'll check on that.
And then below that, we have our Change Academy, school leaders E&O for $2 million, that coverage as well, with a $10,000 deductible on that policy. Okay. So that's within Liberty's policy now. If we move coverage in 30, 45, 90 days, whatever that looks like, we'll have a different provider giving that same coverage. Any questions on any of that information? Page?
Change Academy cost.
Oh, it's broken out here. I think it's about 10 grand, roughly.
For
Yeah,
Change Academy?
yeah.
Because I'm looking at those numbers, $2 million, compared to some of the other numbers, it seems high.
That's what I was wondering. I mean, you got
not-
kids in an alternative school, basically.
Very limited number of
2
people.
million, yet we have the police at $1 million, and they both fall under, I assume, do they both fall under the $5 million umbrella also, or is change segregated
Change
out?
is segregated out.
Okay.
Let me double
It
check.
is segregated. One of the things, again, we've talked about in the past, the contract that we have for the Change Academy drives that you guys are responsible for that.
Right.
It wouldn't be unreasonable to read, if you could, and I think we've chatted about this in the past, if you could negotiate with the schools, because their insurance would cover it, and there wouldn't be an expense.
That's what I'm wondering, why we're handling the coverage there.
Because the way the contract is
Right.
written, is we're responsible.
And I believe we revisited that a couple years ago.
It would
Had a
not,
conversation on it, but nothing
yeah,
happened.
and not, again, the schools would, their liability would follow, it wouldn't cost them anything to do it.
Yeah, the MOU would have to be rewritten, I think. And of course, there's 4 school systems involved now instead of 3, so
What's the fourth one, Mike?
Hamilton came
Okay.
in too, so complicates things a little bit.
It's just an opportunity.
Yep.
Well, if it saves 10 grand, I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Rewrite an MOU as long as it doesn't adversely affect the school. I don't see any reason not to at least pursue it.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, it's worth a
Yeah,
conversation.
we would agree.
In my initial research, I'm seeing a $5 million cap. I'll keep researching on that just to make sure that it's the correct statute I'm looking at, but it does look like for all governmental entities and public employees, $5 million cap.
Is that per occurrence or per individual?
I believe it's per occurrence. The individual limits are more like 300,000, 700,000, but like with the state fair thing, I think they ended up raising the caps because it just wasn't fair for the number of people killed.
Gonna do something nefarious, be a government employee because it gets capped.
Well,
Makes sense.
that also reduces your premiums a little bit, I think, right? So I mean, if you got a $5 million umbrella coverage, then they're hopefully covered per the statute for any lawsuit, is the idea.
If you had, I mean, if there was no cap on that, how much coverage would you need?
Yeah,
There's no crystal ball to figure that one
That's
out.
just it.
10 million, 25 million, and then how much would you have to pay? It'd be,
I've seen liability policies of 200 million before, and it's just crazy. There's no cap. Crazy. All right.
Okay.
Vehicles, it's based off of a total of 102 units. The comp and collision deductibles for the autos are 2,500. We do have any vehicles, this is new this year with Liberty, any vehicle that's original cost new was over 100,000 is a $5,000 deductible. And then any vehicle with an original cost new of higher than 250,000 is a $10,000 deductible. Now, there's only one vehicle that's higher than the 250,000, some type of Freightliner, I believe, I'm not sure.
Highway,
Yeah.
new highway, dual axle highway trucks.
Yeah. And then there's 7 total vehicles that fall under that $5,000 deductible category, and there's 94 vehicles that fall under that $2,500 deductible as far as the breakouts for it. So we got $1 million per occurrence there, and then once again, our umbrella sits on top of us is $6 million for any one occurrence for an auto liability accident.
I think we got more than one vehicle in that 250,000.
Three of those
Possibly.
trucks.
250,000?
Shouldn't have 3 of those dual axle trucks, shouldn't we, that are over that?
3 or 4.
At least 3, you got a 4th coming.
Yeah.
We just redid the list and all the original cost news, so I'm pretty confident it's correct. We'll double check that just to make sure.
Now, does that include the bed we put on them and stuff too, Bill? Because the truck itself is cheaper than, we modify them then after that, so.
Total cost on that
Total
was right
cost
at
there
a-
is.
right at $250,000.
Okay.
The first 2 we bought, I think, were just under that, but is this replacement cost?
All auto policies are actual cash value. There is no replacement cost in the auto world, so they're
So
gonna,
that changes it then, yeah.
So it'd be just one then.
but again,
newest one.
it's on the original cost, new, it's not current value.
yeah. Yeah, that's how they value these things.
That's why those others aren't showing up then on the 250.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were like 235, if I remember, in that range.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I think we're good.
So the $75,000 coverage that we have is sufficient.
Is? Okay.
That's great.
Good answer.
One thing to note on the autos, Travelers had indicated that all autos would be $1,000 deductible, which is, significantly lower in some of these
Travel,
higher
all of them?
Travelers, no matter the original cost new. So something to be mindful of as well as we're moving forward on this. Any questions on the auto coverage? Okay. Next section is the excess liability, which is the umbrella. We have $5 million. You can see there broken out what falls underneath the umbrella and then what doesn't. So we have our GL and auto, employee benefits liability, sexual misconduct, public officials, law enforcement, employers liability that fall under the umbrella. The things that don't are uninsured, motorist, which it doesn't for any carrier, cyber liability, which is a separate policy that we have with Travelers, we'll talk about in just a minute, the school leaders E&O, and then the employment practices liability. And that was why that original limit was at 5 million versus the 1 like the rest of them. All right. Travelers, the cyber quote, Jack Smith, I'm sure there's a team behind him at some level, has just done a great job of getting the applications back to us. Those applications, talk about speaking Greek. They ask a lot of in-depth questions about firewalls and everything else. But he does a great job helping us get those back to us in a timely fashion. So, thankful for that. A couple of things to note here. Some of the bigger items that we will generally see in the industry sees is the privacy breach notification. That's a big one. That's going to be someone hacks into the system and gets sensitive data or individual data for however many thousands of people, right? What do? We have $2 million worth of coverage for that to notify individuals and respond to that action. We talk a lot about cyber extortion in our industry, and that's going to be hacking into the system, and then they have your data, and they threaten to release it out, but instead of doing that, they ask you for 5 Bitcoin or whatever the going cryptocurrency is of that time. We have $2 million of occurrence or limit for that type of situation as well. Now, if you come down to the social engineering fraud, I know we've talked about that quite a bit in the past. That's going to be an individual gets an email from Mike Watson. It looks like Mike Watson. Everything looks legitimate. It's not Mike Watson, right? It's a fraudulent email that they're getting. And normally those are going to be centered on ACH payments or things of that nature where they say, hey, I'm on vacation, please wire this money. You guys have good measures in place to make sure that that doesn't happen. So that's good. But that $500,000, that's a $500,000 limit. Travelers does not offer that anymore for new business. It's called a sublimit, and now most will offer $250,000. So they gave us an alternate option for $250,000 social engineering. It saved us $3,000 in premium. But there's a reason why they sublimit that. It's because it's the most likely to happen. So the fact that we are grandfathered in with $500,000, you could lower it to save the $3,000 to $250,000, but to me that's a likely thing that could happen. And if it's our biggest cyber exposure, I think it makes sense to keep it at the $500,000. My personal opinion. Okay. Anything on that stuff, Mike, cyber-wise?
No, I mean, the one thing I would say is, and I'm grateful for Jack's willingness to help, but the application that we use, the renewal application, is a great underwriting tool.
Yeah.
And is a risk management tool that if you can check all the boxes, yes, it says we're doing all these things, it means that from our industry's perspective, you're doing everything you need to. But if there's a box you say no to, that's something that we probably will need to address. And in the last few years, we've not had any of those issues. Who knows what the next thing is how they're gonna find out, and how they're gonna figure out how to get around something. And so then there could be another at some point.
Yeah. So the cyber insurance, obviously you have it to pay the claim if something happens. The second piece of why cyber insurance is so important is when you actually do have a claim, in travelers is, I would feel like the best in the industry, you want them to respond on your behalf to help mitigate the claim. None of us are forensic file IT guys, that's not what we do, but they hop in real time and really do an outstanding job on that claim. So that's, there's quite a few cyber carriers out there we could write with. We've had incredible experience with travelers, and we've had situations where they've jumped in on holiday weekends and whatever else. We feel really comfortable that they're the best option out there for you guys.
Well, one thing also to keep in mind is we have a 2 million policy limit. So we have all these subtotals. We're not going to pay 2 million for each one of them. If the most we'll pay in any one policy for one incident is 2 million.
Okay. So if you get to the final page is the premium page. You can see, kind of how the breakdowns were there. We talked about on the general liability, we had the budget went up 8%, which is why you're seeing that increase there. The law enforcement, that's where we saw the biggest jump this year. We had the large increase in employees. We also there was a 15% net rate that they added on as well because they're not profitable in that line of business. You can kind of go down the list. One thing that the general liability, professional, all those items that sit underneath the umbrella, if you increase the underlying, the umbrella then follows suit, right? So you can see overall, like I said, they came in at a 9% net rate, which was almost half of what they'd indicated. So that was through some negotiations and conversations with them. But those are the side-by-side premiums from last year's expiring as well as this year.
Okay, we are up against the clock for our break and pledge. I know we ran a little bit over here. Let's take a 10-minute break instead of the 15. We'll come back and wrap this up.
Sure.
Does that work for you?
Yep.
Okay.
what we know with county home, and then obviously just surrounding the law enforcement, is those are the next two pieces that we are going to continuously work on here moving forward. And then once we have it packaged up, we can revisit what the best option is for you guys here in this 90-day window, get you guys taken care of.
So this estimate, this premium section estimate page is just that, it's what you're estimating this will come in at, and you're gonna hit those law enforcement and
Well, no,
Sunny Meadows markets?
these are the actual those are the actual numbers with
These
Liberty
are the
Mutual.
quotes.
So when we come back in, hopefully, in a perfect world, it's going to be lower deductibles, lower premium. That's what we're
So
shooting for.
this is Liberty Mutual?
That's
These are
Liberty.
actual quotes, okay.
And so we do have the ability, whenever that is 30, 60, 90 days, to then stop this coverage. And then
Gotcha.
we just place the coverage anew with a new effective date.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Okay? Any questions for us?
Information I can take in one.
Okay, I understand.
Thanks for all the hard work. It's
Our pleasure.
no small task to get a 90-day extension on Liberty Mutual, I know that.
Yeah.
So we're doing a 90-day extension for everything? Is that what okay.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm not following well. so-
Do that like the federal government?
okay.
Can we just do continuing resolutions every 90 days with the insurance
Something
company?
like that. I don't know if that'll go.
We'll see.
Tell me one operate like the feds.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do we need a motion on that 90-day extension?
I think you should move to accept that, yes, if you're going to do
I will make a motion that we approve the 90-day extension on the county liability policy with Liberty Mutual.
And I will second.
A motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You
Thanks,
bet.
Kyle.
Be in
Thanks,
touch.
Mike. Appreciate
Yep.
it.
So here's the Liberty Mutual commercial.
Yeah. Liberty Bibbity.
Okay, Mr. Parker.
Morning, guys. How are you today?
Oh, we're good.
Splendid.
It's a beautiful Monday out there.
Great, isn't
I'm
it?
liking it. Yes. Saturday morning wasn't so great, but that's all right.
Saturday was
Used up,
kind of,
used up a little bit more salt, so we'll hit our 80%, so we'll be good.
Good.
That's always good to hear. I always worry about that, not utilizing enough, then having to pay storage on that.
No.
That adds up depending on how much you got. So, but we got a new facility. We'd have
We
been
got
fine.
storage.
We got storage, yes.
yeah.
Yep, so that's one thing I'm looking forward to with moving. We'll have the storage capacity to,
Buy it all at once.
yep, to hold our material, and that will be nice. So,
More efficient.
yes. I can't tell you how much more efficient that's going to be.
I bet.
Oh, man, just everything up there is going to be more efficient and better for us.
So you're seeing light at the end of the tunnel, you're telling us?
Yeah, it's gotten a lot more work, though. There's a lot of questions, been a lot of calls, questions have been popping up there more. But yes, we're getting down to the nitpick stuff, where you want this placed, where you want that placed, and this
Sure.
moved, but it's nice. Just if we can get the equipment we need, get there quicker, it'd be a lot nicer.
Sure.
Can't get Bill to jump on the ship and go get it.
Yeah,
I don't know
Yeah.
where it's at, but if he could go get it, it'd be great. So, a few things today, guys. I emailed all of you last week the amended draft contract for County Road 56 to request the additional funds for the bid amount. So if you guys had a chance to review that and are okay with that, I'd need a motion to approve the Commissioner's President to docu-sign that document, and then we can move forward with that project.
I'll make that motion for the president to sign or docu-sign the agreement for County Road 56 federal aid project.
I will second.
A motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Susan, I printed off a hard copy. Do you want this, or do you need it?
I have it. I'm assuming I'll get one that doesn't say draft when it's signed.
Yeah, because when it's docu-signed, once he docu-signs it, they sign it, they'll send us back a signed one.
But I will want a copy of that.
Right. But yeah, I won't get it. They'll be the last ones to sign.
Okay.
Only took 6 years.
Yeah, right.
It isn't done yet.
No,
Or just to get to the
Oh,
signature.
your kid's signature, yeah.
Yeah.
and then I was gonna discuss a pipe quote, but I've got a little bit more legwork to do on that. And I wanna get a quote from, Metal Culverts. So I'll follow back up with you guys on that.
Pipe quote for yearly supply.
Oh,
Or
no,
for
it's
that
for,
road?
it's for a road, it's for a road pipe. That, and I've gotten some others from Butler Fairman that's moved up the priority list that they found during their inspection. So I might have to move stuff around. The next thing I had, just to bring you up to speed a little bit FYI, I've reached out for some land surveying for the County Road 23 project. And I've gotten 2 quotes. I got one from Apex Consulting. And then I reached out to Angela Wallace here in Auburn that has Compass Land Surveying.
Who's that, Angela Wallace?
Yes,
Really?
yep. And she gave me a,
Stuff for the drainage board, or brings a lot of projects to the drainage board.
I didn't know she was in
Angie,
that
yeah.
business. Okay.
Yeah.
she has given me a quote for 2,700. And then Apex give me one for 4,200. So,
Same scope of work?
looks like it, yes.
Not real complicated.
No,
That's for that, taking that curve out, right?
right.
Not real complicated either. Yeah. Yeah, 4,200 is, they're too busy to really mess with it.
Makes sense. They
Yeah.
just shoot high if,
Angie's always,
Oh,
Well, and
Done
Apex is
good
a
work.
little
Same
bigger.
old, same old.
yeah.
They're a lot bigger company too.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, it looks like it's relatively the same scope. I've never worked with Angela, but I did talk to Auburn and then Mike's comments here. Sounds like people's
Yeah, yeah.
pleased with her, so,
They do a lot for the drainage board. We get a lot of, they come in, not for the drainage board, but they come in with a lot of projects.
Yeah, with the projects.
okay.
She does a lot of, like, the replats and that sort of thing.
Really?
Too, so, yeah.
Yeah. And she'll walk her through the whole process.
Well, her quote was on my computer this morning when I got here, so,
like that, it's half price. So it makes sense.
yeah,
Not
so
quite half, but.
Yeah.
if you guys are in agreement
Give it
with
to
that, I will
somebody
move forward
Anyway,
with Angela.
I think we should do that. You want a motion?
Sure.
I think we should take the quote from Compass, land surveying for 2,700 for County Road 23 straightening project.
and I will second.
You can give that to Susan if
A
you want.
motion and second. Any additional comments?
I've had a couple of dealings with, is it Angie Wallace?
Yeah,
Yes,
And I like her.
yeah.
Yeah, I like her.
Good.
Oh,
there's no place
For
to
whatever
sign
that's
on
worth.
that bill.
If our
Just
attorney
give
likes
it
her,
to
then that's a
Susan.
done deal.
Want this other one too? Yeah, you can keep that.
This is, thank you.
Endorsement from an attorney is a big deal.
You bet.
she seems to know her business and she's personable and
That's great.
Yeah.
I think so.
Comments?
No?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries.
2,700, right?
Yes. And then
What
I
else you got,
I
Ben?
just sent you guys this morning, I'm sure you hadn't had time, I know you hadn't had time to review it. We can wait till after you review it unless you want to move forward with it. I did read through it. This is the NDOT unofficial detour reimbursement contract. We've signed these before in the past. This goes through and it tells us for DeKalb County Highway, it gives their project number, and they are going to reimburse us not to exceed $11,805.45. That is the cost that we incurred for County Road 5 between State Road 8 and County Road 40 last year when the bridge was closed. In order for them to reimburse us, this has got to be signed by the commissioners and the auditor. It goes through and it talks about their non-disclosure affidavit, their so your non-discriminational, compliance and regulations, governing laws, subsequent acts, non-waiver, Attorney General approval, survivability, drug-free workplace certification, funding cancellation, compliance and telephone soliciting act, all their ethics. I did email it all to you. If you want to wait a couple weeks and sign it then, that's fine. Or if you guys are okay with this, we can move on it today. It's for all three to sign and the auditor to attest. This is the reimbursement contract. I said, we've signed the same thing in the past for the other roads that we've had unofficial detour routes on. But if you guys want, I just sent to you this morning, I got it Friday afternoon from NDOT, but it's your guys' decision. It makes me no difference.
I read it. It
You
was,
looked at it?
I've gone through this at some point in time in the year, probably once or twice through the standard, all the state required things, and we're doing it. We're doing drug-free workplace, non-discrimination, all of that. So I'm comfortable with the standard state contract language. The 11,000, is that expenses we already incurred, or is that
It's
an
already-
estimate of things we might incur in the future? That was
It's already
unsure on
done and
that.
paid. It's
already
done and paid. We did all the work except for the calcium chloride. That
Okay.
was contracted out to Great Lakes Chloride.
Okay.
But the stone and all that, we bought,
And it only cost 11,000 to,
mostly because there wasn't no labor none in it. We did all, I didn't charge for the labor.
okay, all right. Then I'm comfortable with that if you guys are and we've done it before.
So I created an invoice a week or two ago, I don't remember when it was, and sent that to them. That's what they based this cost off of. So that is our accrued cost.
I think we go ahead.
yeah, I'd make a motion that we sign the detour reimbursement contract.
A little frazzled nerves for the extra truck traffic.
Right, right.
Let's get it off the table, get it out of the way.
I'll second.
Got a motion second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
That's for all three to sign and Susan, so.
And Susan.
Yay.
A tester.
Don't want to leave her out on it.
Today's what,
26, yes, sir.
So that was. $11,000 roughly.
Yeah, 11.8.
Another zero in there to help us out.
It was something, yeah, it was like 85 cents or something on the end too.
Oh, I'm thinking like 118,000.
Oh, Yeah, if we can get it out of them,
Put a zero in there, see if they catch
I
it.
know it. Oh, I'm sure they will.
If they have a Susan, they will.
Right?
Yeah, they'll come up for air for that one.
Oh, excuse me.
And I will get a hold of NDOT and have them send you a new DocuSign link, Bill.
Yeah.
So just watch that and verify, and then let me know that you got it signed, and then
Will do.
sit at the bottom right, auditor. You, local public agencies, LPA, and then auditor.
You're our LPA. You didn't know that, did
I
you?
didn't know that. I'll add that to my list.
There'll be an LPN too while you're there.
No, thanks.
Hey, I did get recertified for another year through the state for our my ERC for
Did you really?
half a day.
Did
I
you?
got it done, yeah.
For certification.
Every year. ERC Bridge and ERC Basic, that keeps
awesome.
our
What's
federal
ERC
funds,
again?
employee and responsible charge. That's where all of our funding comes through me for the countywide bridge inspections, our federal aids, our grants. That keeps me certified with the state in order to submit them and to do our quarterly reports.
Okay.
So email me that.
This contract, yeah.
Are you going to road school?
Yes.
Good. Good, good, good.
Okay.
So that's all I have on my list for you guys.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, so do we need to talk about this County Road Bridge 75 thing or this County Road 27 driveway thing?
Bridge 75, that's the contract with Butler Fairman, correct?
Yeah, County Road 16 over the Lions Ditch. I don't know
That is
if we
up.
need to talk about it.
I didn't think about bringing that up, so that is something that we need to discuss about if we want to move forward with Butler Fairman on that bridge to redesign that. I believe I sent that to all of you to review and look at.
Is that the one we're trying to shorten up a little bit?
No, this one,
Oh, okay.
that one's done. That was
Okay.
132. That
Got it.
bridge is done. This one's up on 16 west of 19. Down in the little low area there, it's over a ditch. It's not a very big bridge, but it is up for replacement. And I contacted Butler Fairman to go out and look at that. And we met on site and come up with some plans, and the approaches will have to be changed up a little bit. Different style guardrail, and then of course a new bridge. The hydraulics and everything will have to be done yet. That's what's part of the investigation cost, and then the design cost. I believe it was not to exceed 127, I'm thinking.
We talked about this.
We have, yeah,
Yeah.
because I went to Butler Fairman and then we met.
Right. Yeah. Remember us talking.
I knew
about
there
it
was
briefly.
something I forgot, but
I don't think I have that.
in that one, that's not in there. No, you don't have the contract.
I don't have it.
Nope. Let me look, see if I got it on my phone. Agreement, here it is. I could send this to you if they want to proceed with it, and you can print it, and we could sign it real quick. Let me find the amount here. Man, Todd, I'm gonna do what you did. I'm gonna get me some glasses.
I know. You wait. Wait till you're 40, about 45.
Yeah, that's here in a few months.
Yep.
Let's see here. It was in the, I had it included in the budget for this year, and it was within my budgeted amount. Find, here it is. A total fee and not to exceed 127,455. That does utility coordination, geotechnical bidding and post-bid services, bridge design, survey, environmental permits.
Much would that bridge cost total, Ben? If you had to guess, I know you're not, but you've seen
It's probably going to be 600,000.
five, so it's one of the cheaper bridges then. It's not very
It's not
big.
very big.
So it couldn't be converted to a small structure, right? It has to be a bridge. Okay.
Why can't that be a pipe?
Why can't it what?
Be a pipe instead of a bridge?
Due to the hydraulics,
What's the hydraulics?
the flow.
There's not much flow in there.
I know it. But we'll have to go through the investigation, and I can push some more on that. We questioned that when we was up there.
Yeah, it's
It's
been
not a very
questioned
big
several years
ditch.
ago, we questioned that. I
It'd be nice
think,
if we could have more small structures and less bridges if possible, but I get it though. You have
I
to.
mean, I'm familiar with the
Are
the
you?
bridge, yes.
Where's this one at?
16.
Oh, by you?
Well, it's east of me.
East of you?
It's not traveled much. I mean, travel-wise, it's not traveled much, dirt road. Not that big a creek. It'd have plenty of dirt over the top of it. It's not like it's going to be a shallow culvert.
Maybe push and see if that could be converted or not.
I would be
Part of the
tickled with
process.
that, but I don't know if we can get it done, but, let me work on it a little bit.
Let's look at that.
Because I know we tried to save money and did a small structure on County Road 72. I don't know whether we saved that much or not from what the structure ended up costing us for the size of the bridge. Only thing we did do was got it off off our bridge inventory. It's got a small structure now, you know.
And this isn't particularly long pipe either. It doesn't go at an angle. It's pretty much
A
straight
little bit it
across.
does. I think there's a little bit of a skew in it, but not
A little
much.
bit, yeah, not much.
Yeah, there's not much flow in that. That is up to the Army Corps and
Really?
IDEM, well, I don't know if IDEM gets into too much, but Army Corps does a lot as far as the hydraulics and what we can and cannot put in there. That will be, the engineers design it, they send it in, and they got to agree with it.
Really?
Well, let's pursue
Yeah,
that.
they control the waters.
Yeah, let's pursue that.
They have a little water.
And the
We
surveyor
can do
will
a
as well.
pipe for the price of the engineering. Of course, we're going to have engineering on top with the pipe too, but
Right.
just about do the pipe for the price of the engineering.
Be nice.
Close to it, I would think.
And maybe the legacy cost is a little less too when it needs repaired versus a bridge. You know, like you said, maybe the initial cost by the time you do it all isn't much of a savings, but 20, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh.
Never know nowadays.
Yeah.
It's worth a shot.
I got a note to check on it.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about that when we was up there, and that's been a while enough ago now. I can't remember exactly what Mike told us on that. Mark might remember, but I don't off the top of my head. It was really cold and nasty that day we was up there. It's been a while ago. But they sent me that scope here a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, and I didn't put it in my folder, so that's why I overlooked it.
And the other thing I had was the driveway.
Which one? That one, it's been removed. The resident did remove it, but he's got to remove some more stone yet because supposedly it was froze when he went to remove the drive. And then he'll have to do a little bit of shaping and reseeding, and then that should be done.
I think you contacted me and I did a letter to them.
That
Didn't
one we
we?
did, yes.
Yeah,
That was the
on that
guy
one.
that,
You wrote a letter to one person,
put the
then I wrote
drive
a letter
in.
to the other people, so.
he put the drive in, I wrote him a letter, he took it out, and then he put it back in.
Yeah, at that point, it's time for, by the second round, they need to hear from the lawyer to get it out. And and this guy actually called me up, and I think the lady did too.
Yeah, he called me too.
Yeah, so the letter from the county attorney got him moving.
Traction there.
I did send a letter to Eric Fuller on 62, across from Nucor.
Yes.
He put a driveway out within 15 feet of State Road 1. And I sent him a letter, and I have not heard from him. But just a heads up, I sent him one too.
Thank you for doing that, Ben. I thought a letter from you was a good first step, but I'm willing to get involved as needed. And if it's within 15 feet of State Road 1, maybe we could get the state involved? Would
Well,
the,
it's also per our UDO, you can't be within 150 feet of a major collector to drive.
well, it might be violating
It
some
might be,
state
'cause
law on State
He's
Road
probably,
1, like
he's
limited
real close
access
to-
law or
he's
something.
real close with them being in state right away. It may be
Yeah.
further than 15 feet, but it's close.
Yeah,
It was close. So,
Okay.
just a thought. We could get the state involved if he really was violating their space.
What else?
That's all, well,
Yes.
besides your water softener.
Water softener. Yeah, let's dive into that water softener deal. Medich is $3,090 plus $500 installation not to exceed. It's a single tank. Twin tank is $5,450. $750 not to exceed installation. Trying to give us a price. I assume that's a two tank. $6,550. I think I'm under the impression that, and I talked to Ben a little bit about the single tank from Medit would do the job.
it should, because most of the time them regenerate at 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And chances of us being there at 2 in the morning is pretty slim.
Wasn't it 100,000 grain too, or something like that?
It's 120.
Yeah, I mean, a home unit's usually 27,000, and you're not taking 40-minute showers there, everyone, and,
Yeah.
you know, And we're not washing the trucks with this water, right?
No.
So I think the single tank would be sufficient.
Should be.
Cheaper to replace too if it
Yeah.
breaks,
Yeah.
10 years from now.
I agree.
I think it would be. I wouldn't know why it wouldn't. I mean, because the water's coming in from the city, it's already a decent water source.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Iron's
iron.
gone, that's a big
Iron and the
thing.
manganese is removed from it, so we're just basically gonna soften it.
Yeah, calcium and
Okay, motion?
Gallon of salt at a time.
I'd make a motion, we accept the smaller quote from Edwards for the single tank.
I will second.
A motion and a second on the floor. Any additional comments?
That is a on-demand.
Does not say, I think about all of them are on demand.
I've never
Or
seen
time
one.
generated
Yeah, the demand will trip with some
was after so many
reserve
gallons.
leftovers, because it has to go into the night cycle to recharge.
2 a.m. or whatever
Yeah.
at the next cycle and
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Aye, motion, or, those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
You want to contact Medard? Want me to contact him?
It's up to you. I mean, if you want to, you got the quote and things, you know what.
I'll call him. I wonder when they can get in there, install that.
That I don't know. They're gonna have to do some replumbing up in the front there.
They need to coordinate that.
We need to coordinate that with Pranger.
Yeah.
Yep. It might even be one of them deals, Bill, of depending on what they gotta do. If the softener's sitting there, they may just hook it in for us. Because they gotta replumb all that. It almost make more sense to have them go to it and then bypass it and then have Medards come in, have to cut back in and hook it back up.
Really no more work for them.
No, there's not. There's an
Yeah.
in and an out and a bypass.
Right.
And then the drain line.
Yeah.
It's, we got a meeting Thursday. We can talk to Pranger about it, see how they want to do it.
Yeah, that'll work.
But if we can get it ordered anyway, and then just let Medard know that we'll follow up with him on that install.
Timeline, installation. Okay, we'll do.
Great.
What else we got? All
I don't think I
done?
have anything for you guys.
All done? Andrew,
Want to
Susan?
buy a new truck or anything?
I do, but
Oh, okay.
I'm actually waiting on Dusty and Mark to get it spec'd, and I don't know how we're gonna do that for sure, because there's a waiting list you gotta get on for the truck. And I don't know if I'm gonna try doing it from a source well, or if I'm gonna try to bid it. I gotta get that figured out.
What about your gentleman that's retiring in March? Is this going to be a hard one to replace? You have a driver retiring in March, right?
I got a foreman retiring in March.
Foreman. So is
22 years he's been there.
that someone you can move up and then replace
I
that
will-
position probably?
I will appoint someone else to the foreman and then replace the
Okay.
other guy's position.
Okay.
Typically what I do, I have gotten quite a few new guys here in the last couple of years. It's just, we had an aging department,
Yeah.
we had a lot of retirement since I've been here.
Heard you might be short a couple mowers too, going into the
One.
mowing season.
Yep, I'm short one.
Bill's
Yeah, one-
really good at mowing, I know that. Pays $6.50 or $7.75 an hour, Bill.
Yeah, I could do
More than
that
you make
between
here.
midnight and 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
Amen.
Some good
that's,
lighting.
that mower job, that takes a special person.
To run over stuff and
Yeah, to sit in there all day long.
At an
every
angle too,
day.
and in the sun and,
Traffic's horrible.
oh yeah.
Make sure they jump the culverts.
Culverts and tires and rocks and stumps and,
Gas valves.
Gas valves.
They haven't blown one up, have they?
We hit one.
No.
we had a
last year.
high
gas
pressure
valve.
valve, it wasn't marked. Them ones where they come up and go over and back down the ground, they didn't have a cage around it. It was screaming pretty good.
Don't light a match, I guess.
We should have,
Man.
that might have been interesting, just.
And then they
touch that
wanted to
baby
bill
up.
me for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that last year? I vaguely remember something,
It's been
but
2
maybe it's
years
been a
ago,
while.
I think.
Yeah.
So then I wouldn't have heard of that.
Yeah, it
I was
two
like,
years
really? I mean, you need to
Yikes.
protect your infrastructure a little bit better. It's like, say, most of the time they have a cage around them,
Yeah,
right.
right.
and that one didn't. Yeah, and it was in them tall
Tall weeds, really tall.
Yeah, them real tall, I don't even know what they are, them nuisance weeds that grows when it's wet.
Oh, yeah.
Fescue grass stuff. Yeah, it got his attention real quick. Luckily, it didn't spark or something.
Yeah. It's been fun to watch.
That'd have been bad. Yeah, and the fire department and everybody out there. It was quite the ordeal.
You'd have a built-in weed burner.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Whole county.
You know, you think about that, as long as that ran, how much
Oh,
gallons of gas blew out of that thing?
a lot of storage lost there.
Yeah, it's like a 1-inch high-pressure line. It whistled,
Where's the gorilla tape when you need it?
Flex seal.
it whistled pretty good. So
Okay.
hopefully we don't have any more of that, but yeah, there's things out there. There's no doubt about it.
Okay.
So yeah, if you know anybody, let me know.
Okay, all set?
Yeah, I think that's all I got, guys.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
you bet. Let's,
Uh-huh.
hi, Chris.
Business. You, Ben.
Have a good one, bud.
Yeah.
You better verify his paperwork.
Yeah, we will. How you doing, Chris? This is the same thing that was in our email, right?
With
No.
some minor changes that I got from Andrew late Saturday morning, or late Saturday evening.
All right,
So I'll go through what those changes were
all right.
as well.
Okey doke.
So on top of the changes that were made, and I'll go through them, there's probably one section that I want to have more discussion on per a question Andrew had, which is a good question to have, and I think we can start with that so I can, I brought the laptop so I can get it revised and hopefully get this approved today still, but if you want to wait, that's fine too. It's in section 2.06, and sorry, it's highlighted in blue, so you're going to have a hard time reading it. 2.06 with 2.061 and 2.062. Andrew had a question on if one is private, if one road is public and one road is private, who pays then for the sign? My proposed resolution to that is fairly simple, I guess, that the DeKalb County Highway Department would pay, or the county would pay, if it's identifying two or more public streets intersecting with another public street. And then for the next section, 2.062, that the property owner or developer would pay if it's identifying one or more private street intersecting with another private or public street. That's kind of the simplest thing I could think of. The only other option you really have is to split the cost in half. But then who manages the project?
That's the problem.
And then who gets the quotes? Who makes sure the quotes are equal? It kind of is a little bit of a headache. So that's the one thing that really is the major change out of Andrew's comments, and then what we had discussed a couple weeks ago. So what are your thoughts on that?
I got a dumb question. How much cost are we really looking at?
I don't know. I wish Ben was here.
The reason why I ask is this adding a lot of work, saying, well, you got to pay for that
Yeah.
because there's only two roads, and shouldn't we just be responsible for all the street signs and just be done with it?
And not all these have a developer or an association.
Right.
The private owners on a private drive, who's gonna pay
So
that?
how the plan commission helps with that kind of is that if there is a private road and there's not an association, we make sure that there's a covenant on that plat that states who's responsible for the maintenance of that private road, so that it's not the plan commission's responsibility or the county commissioners to go in and make sure potholes are filled. Or
Right.
if the road gets down to a pretty degraded level, the property owners aren't coming to us and saying, well, who's got to maintain it? And we say, well, we don't know, it's not on the plat. That's something we've started doing when I started here. So the maintenance of that road, I think, could dictate who maintains or who does that, puts the sign up.
Sign.
It could be the responsibility of all those property owners. If it's
True.
not there.
But the sign, is that going to be on the same post as the road sign, more than likely?
Depends on if there's already a road there. If there's a public street there, then not necessarily, because the intersection would be new. That private road or new public road would be new. So, the county would be responsible, I think, if it's a public road to a public road, like Diamond Lake Estates and Stonebridge Estates. Those are all public roads. So it'd be the responsibility of the county. But if like Copper Ridge, just at 29 and 60, I think, or maybe 62, that's a private road coming into 29. So who's responsible for that intersecting sign? I don't care if it's the county that pays for it.
I'm just thinking streamlining things so when people
It
say.
would be way easier,
Hey,
yes,
we're putting a
you're
road
right.
in, good, we'll go put a sign out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not, okay, well, there's this public and this, I just like to keep this simpler.
I would agree.
And the county has the equipment to do that.
Right.
For one
We
thing.
make our own signs?
Yes.
We do make our own signs. Okay.
No, we
your
don't
own
make
signs.
them, but we got the equipment to
Yeah.
Yeah,
install
we
them.
install
And the installation.
We have a
equipment.
special truck just for signs.
And if it's at a location, because Story Lake Drive is one of them, and Indian Lake Drive.
Who is that?
Indian Lake Drive and Story Lake.
Indian Lake
Okay.
Drive, yeah.
You know,
It's just
that's,
cleaner to let the county.
I think the
highway
county should
department
handle
be-
it.
Yeah.
I don't mean to mess up the work you put in there, I'm just trying to simplify. 'Cause
I
this-
am
this
not
is-
disagreeing with you. As Andrew and Mike can attest, being on Plan Commission, and Bill will quickly attest, I'd be happier if things were simpler.
Yeah.
The more complicated we make it, the
we're
more
not,
gray
we're
area there
not talking
is.
this, we're not talking about load of money here.
Yeah, okay.
That makes sense.
Couple signs a year is really what this is gonna work out to.
And then you
Maybe
control the
30 bucks or
quality.
Something like that.
You control the quality when you make the sign, you control the
Then
quality.
I'm gonna have to go through
And they're the
this
same.
again, because this is just for the non-conforming part.
Yeah.
If you want to just have the county take care of doing the signs, do you want the county to pay for those too? Do you want me to find out what the cost is? I don't even know.
Ben's on his
No.
way back.
Okay, good.
Oh, you got Ben all
sign-
riled up now.
I know.
I just asked him
I
to
just-
come back.
The entire sign budget for a year for the county is like 60 grand, so an individual sign is not.
That's
It's
what I'm
not
saying.
Yeah, a drop in.
I just bought a sign, a 4x12, 4x14, $36.
Right.
See, ask and you shall receive.
Only when you ask. People are scared of you, so they show up.
I don't know why.
Wonderful. Have a seat.
So what's a street sign cost us?
As far as,
Just a street sign to make and install.
Like County Road 36 and County Road something.
we make all of our own county road signs, so I order the blanks. The material goes on the back, we order our own numbers.
You do?
We put them all, we make them our own. The street name signs that, the roads that we have that are named, I order that way. Because it's cheaper to order them instead of stocking all the numbers, because you just never know what a road name will end up being.
So
So
how
it-
much is that?
Just ballpark.
They're probably have $40 in it, I'm guessing.
Sounds
Order them
about
on
right.
Amazon.
Gonna break you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, just the simplicity.
Okay.
But then
So-
you got your mounting brackets and things, that's where your money gets.
Yeah, but you got all that and
What
Mounting
about the
brackets and
post? How
posts.
much does the post cost?
They're about $60 a piece.
Okay.
but see, that post might be there anyway for the county roadside.
Some might
Some-
be.
some-
Some might be, yeah.
Yeah.
I think if it's $100, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I don't think there's gonna be a problem like I said, we really are amending this because we have one guy that's a problem.
Yeah. This is not going to be a huge, putting up 10 every week kind of
Right,
thing. Anyway,
right, right. Doing 10 a
it's
week for the whole year.
Yeah, it's a very,
Yeah.
very low volume
There's
situation.
only a couple roads, I think, that we have are private roads anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that we don't sign.
just a handful.
Not
That's what I'm
very
saying. I
many.
think
At
we
this
should just
point.
take it over and be done with it.
So if that's the case, then really a lot of section 2 is going to change because the highway department is going to make sure that it meets that MUTCD code, right? So we're not going to have any design approval from
Right.
Ben, unless they would want to do something different outside of this ordinance. If they want to have a pretty wooden post with,
Bear Creek does that.
Then they can pay for it.
then they can pay for it, but they would still have to get it approved through
I
Ben.
think we
So-
provide a basic. If they want something wonderful, it's all on you. But it has to meet
Is
these.
that,
Hand car, totem pole.
Yeah.
sign,
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah,
of
they can
scrolls or
sprinkle
all
that,
that
yeah.
stuff that they would put on
I
it.
think you need to word that we will only do the ones where it joins our county road. I don't want to go back in a private edition and be signing it, unless that's what you're intending us to do.
Yeah, where it joins County Road, yes.
Right, that'd be the only one that we do.
Yeah.
The rest of it back in there if they
That's
tee
on
off or
them.
whatever.
But this would also be though for if someone does have a private drive out to a county road.
Yes,
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, when you say a private drive, you're talking a road.
A private road, yeah, a private
You're
road.
not talking
Put it
about
in-
every driveway.
No, 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 no.
But it
no.
adjoins our
Yeah,
road.
Yeah, that
we put a sign in.
That we identify through the plat committee, through 911,
Yeah.
that Copper Ridge Lane or whatever it's called, there's an address, 5555 Copper Ridge Lane off of County Road 29. So that's the
But
road.
like,
that we would
but like Ben
But
said.
if Ben Parker had Ben Parker Lane for his, little
Yeah.
driveway,
Parker
he wanted to be
Resort.
cute.
Parker's Resort.
Yeah, there you go.
Does
Then
that
we
mean we're
wouldn't
gonna
do
do the stop sign as well then, with those? We're signing it, assuming responsibility for the signage of that intersection.
I think it'd be smart.
I think we ought to put a stop sign there if that's where you're gonna word it, because it's,
Because some people don't.
Can you enforce a stop on a private road?
if they failure to yield,
Yeah.
they would, if there's an accident, I don't know if they could actually enforce the stop. Because essentially, unless it's a public street, they're coming out of a private drive. I don't think they have to stop. I don't know, that's a little bit of a, I don't know what your opinion.
I've never heard of anybody putting a stop sign at the end of a private drive.
Yeah, like Wilderness Court, it's
Private
got
street,
Yeah.
maybe they should,
got-
I guess.
10 homes back there.
I don't know.
You know, it's not,
Well, we're not talking about driveways, we're just talking about private roads or
Private
private
roads.
streets.
And
That
something that's
intersect-
probably within our county right-of-way there.
right?
Right, for signs in general.
Right.
You'd just be putting a stop sign on, for their.
On
road
top
coming
of,
in.
or in addition to.
Yeah.
But I agree with Ben that we don't need to be going back into a private neighborhood with four roads and have to put street signs for all that. That's not our, that's on them.
Okay.
But where it adjoins our road, we should pay for, just get it out of the way and be done with it.
And the stop sign's a good idea too. I don't imagine people coming out of the addition are gonna blow through a stop sign just because the county put it up instead of the HOA, so,
Matters the people. Yeah, you're right. You would hope not.
yeah.
Probably would be a good idea. I mean, we're not gonna have an ordinance there for that. I guess it probably could create one
For what, for stop signs?
for a private drive, private road, like I say, I know Wilderness Court out here off 43, I think there's
We add it to
8
this
homes
one.
back there, possibly.
Wilderness Court? Oh, there's probably 20.
Where's that at,
Isn't
guys?
that many back there?
Where Larry Williams lives, Garrick Estates.
Oh,
Well,
off of 427?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Aren't there
sold.
like
There's-
20, 30
there's at
homes
least
back
20
there?
houses
Yeah.
back
Oh,
there.
I'm talking off 43, that's Wilderness Court.
Yeah, you're thinking of.
Oh, I'm thinking of what's this road name though?
Woodland, is it?
Woodland Trail, there
Trail is
you
what
go.
you're thinking of. I said, you confused me
Sorry.
there.
Woodland Trail's in ours, we maintain that.
That's our road.
Oh, you do? Oh,
It is now. Has been for a while.
okay.
Yeah,
I hope so, we maintained that.
yeah.
We microed it last year.
My bad. Good for you.
Good for you.
Can we add that to this about stop signs and private?
I
Or do we
haven't-
want it to be,
Stop
because we're
signs
gonna
are
have to look at
sometimes
this
a
whole
little bit
section two
more
again.
difficult. Don't you have to have like some sort of a,
Ought to be an ordinance to make the sign enforceable.
right.
That's
So I don't
regulatory.
think, so I would be against just putting a
Adding it
stop
to-
sign randomly on a street that's not our street.
Okay,
So I would keep that out and,
okay.
If you're okay with that, that's fine.
no, I'm not okay with, yeah, I'm not okay with putting a stop sign in because it sort of would be our stop sign but unenforceable, so I don't know how that
Could actually be a liability at that
could
point.
potentially be a liability. I don't know. We should leave the liability on the homeowner.
Yeah, because did you have a traffic study done?
Association.
You know, I could see all sorts of things, you know.
And it's not our road that we'd be doing a study
Involved.
on.
Always something.
Right. That could be something that we require in our UDO in the future, is that they put stop signs in at the end of the road.
I could, if I can
But I don't
remember,
know
I
if we
pay
have that
attention.
in our UDO requirements.
That'd make more
We could do
sense.
that during our plot review too, and when we look at that, require them to put
Yeah,
private owned stop signs.
But I wouldn't put the stop sign in this one.
we'd have to somehow, do you do inspections when those private, I know you don't maintain or make sure that it's spec'd to county specs, it's a private road, but do you do an inspection on that? To make sure
We
it's
have,
placed
yeah.
where it is and the culvert's there and all that? Because we could theoretically have that sign be required at that time, so when you go out and put that sign up, well, you'd be doing it anyway, if it's on a county road, so you could put it up at that time.
Only trouble we've had trouble with the signs not being done in Auburn's ETJ,
Yeah,
because the stuff gets released before it's done. That's why we have trouble with Bear Creek.
yeah.
Why we're still battling with some signs out there. But on our part, I haven't had that trouble yet. When we're in control of it, we watch the whole thing, we know it. ETJs are just a little bit hard, but they work with us on getting it corrected.
So I'm gonna have to work on this, and I'll probably try to I'll get language to Andrew and you, and we'll just bring it back in a couple weeks. There's no
I think
hurry
it's a
for this
big
at
enough
all, so-
change that
Yeah,
we need
yeah.
to
We need to work on it rather than try to
work on it and-
wordsmith it through here. So you're thinking, just so I'm clear, the county would pay for the whole signage package, the basic signage package
On adjoining roads.
on adjoining roads, but if it's a private street, the private property owner would need to
Yeah.
do that themselves.
If it doesn't connect to our road, we don't pay
Correct,
for it.
gotcha. Yeah,
I can hear people calling your office already. I'm not paying for that. That's, you know, well,
that's what we're getting now. Okay. So I'll revise that section 2.
Some of them's got a homeowner association that they established to do that.
right.
Because we had that out here at Holiday Lakes. For years, they had their own wooden signs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As them started rotting and deteriorating, they didn't have the funds, or didn't want to maintain it, so we actually went out and put our green signs out there now.
yeah.
Which lasts longer, and I like that more uniform look too, especially for
And
the
that's-
emergency responders and.
They're
you know,
That's what the sheriff's department, when I was talking to Brian and Humbarger, he said, the sheriffs look for those green signs.
Sure,
If they're having to look for limestone or wood or this or that, yellow versus green versus, they know what to look for.
Yeah.
And this is just, that's why it's important to get this update. We need to do it right the first time anyway, so I'd rather us sit on it and
Yeah.
clean this section up again and look at it. Okay. If you want to hang out, you can.
Yeah, I'll wait.
The other items that we had changed, some of it was just some grammatical errors that I had. Ooh, what's that noise? Andrew had a question about Hudson. We don't do anything with Hudson. That's all north. In their postal code, and South DeKalb County is unincorporated, but we don't do anything.
Okay, I thought we did
Hudson.
like building department stuff in Hudson and Steuben County
Just
did
Ashley.
Hamilton.
Just
Oh,
Ashley.
just Ashley.
Just Ashley.
Do we do any of Steuben County?
Only in Ashley's Steuben County.
But Ashley's portion would all be incorporated.
Correct.
So it's not covered under this.
Right.
All right, that's what I was asking about.
Yep.
Okay.
he had a question about who would be enforcing this, and it would be the code, or asking if the code enforcement person would be.
Right, to see if you need to add that name into that section or.
No, I think
Okay.
we would have it as, it'd be easier if
That's fine with me.
one.
I was just asking just in case, so
Okay.
that's fine to keep that name out.
Question about how notice would be delivered, that it's just regular mail, certified mail, and personal service by the sheriff department or someone in our office, so.
Okay, I just thought in the wording of it that it was a little confusing about when as the sheriff's was added in, just with the wording of it was a little confusing. So just look at that.
Okay, we'll look at that again then
Yeah.
and make sure there's.
So if you all
nothing-
want, it's all equal, it can be done either way. They
Okay.
don't have to do all the ways. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Notice doesn't have to come out all those 4 or 5 different ways,
Right.
just one way.
For you guys, the only other changes that we made were to the $10 per day versus the $50 that was changed to 30 and da-da-da. And you can see in the blue. The 90 days versus the 30 that I had. The penalties start on the day the violation was reported. And then 5.027, I added the county commissioners to be able to initiate a lawsuit, just to be consistent with the other sections. So everything else in there is revised per what we discussed on a couple weeks ago. I'll work on this. I'll get it with Andrew. I'll get it with Ben over the next couple weeks. And if it's not completely finalized, I'll just wait another 4, but everything should probably be done in the coming weeks.
Simplify 2.06, you've got it.
Yeah,
nailed down.
it'll shrink a lot, so, I'm sorry for the highlights and the yellows and the
This is
blues,
good
but I
work,
like
though.
to,
This
I
is
like for
good
you to
work.
see what we've changed.
No, you thought it out, and it's good work. That's what
trying,
we need.
trying, thank
We need
you.
it, like you said, let's do it right the first time, so we,
We're not coming back every few minutes, yeah.
We like that.
Okay,
great, thank you.
that's all I got for you. If you want, you're free to stick around and stay.
Play
out
back
and
in
sit
about
next
10
time.
minutes.
About lunchtime.
There's more you can.
Close. Oh, yeah.
I did not have this in your packet for Susan, my apologies. What's there? Don't be talking about me over there. Yeah, so the Plan Commission approved hiring a consultant to help write a RFP for a new comprehensive plan. Our comprehensive plan is, wouldn't say it's old, it's 10 years old. That's relatively old for a comprehensive plan, but our one that we have now is from 2017. It's updated from our 2004 comprehensive plan, which was an update from our 1964 plan. As you guys may know, comprehensive plans are adopted by the commissioners with a recommendation by the Plan Commission as resolutions and not ordinances, which means the comp plans are not law. They're just a guideline for your laws that you create. It's been said that the comprehensive plan is more of a snapshot in time, the one that we currently have. The bulk of the plan explains where DeKalb County has been and where we were up to in 2017. Section 3 of that has tidbits of information of where growth should be located, but kind of without defining what type of growth to see. So we don't really define anything as far as growth. We just kind of have growth. So what does that mean? It's hard to, for the Plan Commission and you as the county commissioners to, especially on things that may be controversial, on how things should be approved or not approved, uses that should be approved and not approved, rezones, land use map changes, that sort of thing. Even the overlay district that we have for the solar, those 5 findings of fact are based off of the comprehensive plan. They're not based off of really anything else. So kind of the reason I believe the rewrite is needed, comprehensive plan should be updated as often as needed. Our Indiana code doesn't define how often they should be updated. For instance, some states require counties or municipalities to update the comprehensive plan every 10, 15, 20 years. But Indiana code doesn't. Indiana code really only has a certain number of things that we have to include in the comprehensive plan. My goal would be to have the rewrite become effective January 1st of 2027. So it would start as our current comprehensive plan hits the 10-year mark. And comprehensive plans these days are major undertakings, most having 20-year vision plans based on a number of goals that the community wants to see. It's a lot more public meetings, a lot more public input, a lot more foresight in what the county wants to see as far as goals and uses in the comprehensive plan. Now, granted, some things you're not going to think of everything to be included in that comp plan, but it's important to have it be as reliable as possible. Kosciuszko County just did a new comprehensive plan that I believe was adopted maybe 2023, maybe effective 2024, but I believe it was 2023. And it's really, really, really good. I'd be happy to send you a link to that if you want to see it, even just to thumb through it and look at the pictures. Sometimes I do that with just my books and magazines, but it's more fun to look at the pictures and graphs than to read a document that's pretty monotonous. So anyway, Hometown Initiatives was selected to help write the RFP and queue. A consultant selection committee has been established per the Plan Commission. On that, the members of the Plan Commission are Jason Carnahan, Suzanne Davis, Sandy Harrison, and Jerry Yoder. Myself as a zoning administrator, Andrew as the Plan Commission attorney, and then I'm requesting that we have one county commissioner be on this committee and one county council person. I would like to have a county commissioner and a county council person. There's no rules as to how this gets made up. I just think it would be best to have somebody that's going to be potentially approving this plan on the committee, at least this committee, and then a county council person to understand what this is going to cost. It's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be a $20,000, $50,000 plan. It's probably going to be upwards of $100,000, $120,000, $150,000, depending on what the selection committee would want.
And we can't have the county commissioner and the county council person be the same two, Bill and Bill, that are on the plan commission currently, or else it shoots it to a majority of actual plan commission members, and everything becomes a public meeting.
Right, or be a quorum. So we would request that, that Bill and Bill Hartman and Bill Van Wy represents the county council on our plan commission, not be on that committee.
And the other thing maybe to add in is from the discussion at the Plan Commission, I don't know what the vote would be, but there's kind of a split between some people that want to not spend the money on it and some people that do. So it's not even a done deal once we get the cost that there's going to be a vote to do it.
Right. So the consultant selection committee will only be potentially selecting a consultant. Obviously the money has to get approved. Plan Commission would have to decide to move forward with the consultant. The consultant selection committee is only giving a recommendation to the Plan Commission. There was discussion, and Bill, feel free to add your information. You were at the meeting. Jerry Yoder mentioned during the meeting, why don't we more or less try to do it in-house and piecemeal. I'm saying that piecemeal, but I don't know the word he was using.
Yeah, he wanted to just tweak it as we went along.
Tweak it as we went along.
Who wanted to do that?
Jerry Yoder.
Is that such a bad idea, though? I mean, 150 grand for
That's a horrible idea.
It is? Well, I'm just thinking,
If you want a master plan, a comprehensive plan that's done correctly and is usable for the next 10 years, you're going to have to make an investment, and it's going to be
There was I have received a suggestion on how to pay for it. And Andrew, would you like to You made the suggestion.
Can I go through the rest of this stuff first? Can I go through the rest of this stuff first and then go
Okay.
through? Okay, because I don't want to get into the weeds much on that. I want to really dive into kind of the timeline that I have. And then on the last page is things, I'm going to give you some homework. I added 4 extra bullets for you there. I do think that even if we don't decide to move forward with a full rewrite of the comprehensive plan, I do think that there are items that are missing from our comprehensive plan. The timeline on page 2 is pretty basic. The goal is to have the RFP published May 1st, submittals due by June 15th. The committee makes a selection by August 1st. That would go to the Plan Commission for a full vote. But then to get it to budget on time, August or September, I think we have to have a consultant selected by that time to know what we're going to be looking at cost-wise. And then if the rewrite would happen, be about 1.5, 2 years of work to get that rewrite done and that includes, the kickoff meetings to public meetings. And I'm not talking just having, people show up to commissioners meetings or plan commission meetings, but actually go out into the community and work with schools, work with various community groups, get DART involved, get all these groups involved, not just nonprofits, but it's your for-profit community as well. It's your major retailers, it's your middle retailers, it's your mom and pop shops.
It's your industrial,
commercial, right?
yeah.
Big stuff. So
I think we probably, when we did the Auburn 2024, or 2040
yeah,
plan, that was a 2-year.
there were some
project,
hiccups
and
in
we
there,
did-
but yeah,
Well, yeah.
with the consultant, but
But,
yeah,
but Hometown Initiatives finished up that plan.
Right.
On their own.
right.
But we did, a dozen, at least, public meetings.
Yeah.
And, segments
Yeah,
specific
yeah.
too.
And some stuff's not going to be well attended. You're going to, have some meetings that 2 or 3 people show up to, and some meetings that there's going to be a line out the door, hopefully. So, on the page 3 is kind of what I'm talking about as far as what really needs to be included in here, and identifying stakeholders is important. The first 3 are kind of if we would get involved in this. The 4th one, I think we need to identify the type of residential, commercial, industrial development we want to see, and put the who, what, where, when, why, and how in there. We do have a future land use map that helps direct where that development should happen as far as what you want to see for the future. But it's kind of hodgepodge, I guess I should say. Impact fees, just for the discussion of thoroughfare and transportation plan update, working with the highway department on that. Update of the trail plan, the Pocobash connection. I think one thing I've heard a lot is the main concern of commissioners is payment for and maintenance of a county trail. What's important to note is that defining that as a regional trail, and this isn't threat by any means, but if it's not through us, it'll go around us. And do we want them to go around DeKalb County? It's just something to have as discussion points. Kosciuszko County, when they redid their comprehensive plan, they saw a need for a county parks department. It's a total volunteer-based, no budget parks department, but it at least has another body helping push for, and theirs is they want to have a large countywide trail system. That's their main focus is how can we be the cheerleaders for that and not put it on the backs of the county commissioners or county council who have their other jobs to deal with as well. So it's just kind of that main focus is that. So just something to think about. Our septic issues and connections to municipal sewers, drainage info and new development work, working with the surveyor and the drainage board, historic preservation, agricultural preservation, preservation of our natural resources. I say the wants and needs, desires of renewable energy is still in the forefront of our brains. The connection to existing large-scale utility is DeKalb County something that we want to see that development? And if not, how do we word it so it's not going to affect the rest of the development that we have? More collaboration and understanding with the needs of the DeKalb County Airport. And the demographic of the changes that are in the county. I think one thing that is interesting, especially over the solar discussion, was people looking for that rural living and moving out to the county, purchasing 2 acres, and wanting to have their view stay the same. But what does that mean? Is it always going to be crops? What if it changes to solar? What if it changes to large-scale confined feed operations? There's a number of different things to look into. We have a lot of people asking about downsizing from large family homes to empty nesters. Is there a potential need that mom and dad that go to Florida for 4 or 5 months in the year come back and live in a studio apartment above their parents or above their child's pole barn for the rest of the year? Or vice versa, the parents that want to downsize but still have the kids come home for Christmas before the kids have to stay in a hotel or with other friends or family. How can we allow them to stay above the pole barn or build a second home?
You've been talking to my wife, haven't you?
Don't tell her. We were hoping you wouldn't find out, Todd. We have a secret phone conversation. But no, and tiny homes are important too for people to look at. People that, want to downsize, but not live in a big house. Yeah.
Anymore, right?
And then our Amish community members that are moving up, plus other community members that aren't who we have seen in DeKalb County for a number of years. And then public safety with fire protection, fire districts, but even just on top of that, if we do grow, where is that growth, and how do we make sure that there is public safety involved for that development? So again, there's other things to add there, but if we would piecemeal it, I think there are things that that would need to become major focuses of that, and we would need to have goals set up over the course of X amount of years that we're going to focus on these 5 things to help us guide our development and work.
Comprehensive plan is meant to be developed with community input, lots of community input, to survive the political changes of elected officials turnover all the time.
Right.
So that it's not, to have fingers in the pie tweaking it every time somebody gets a different idea. You don't have a plan. You've got a hodgepodge of changing direction all the time. I would suggest that you at least take a high-level glance at the Auburn 2040 plan, or Kosciuszko's is probably a little more elaborate, but it's awesome. I know Alan Teo was real instrumental in helping put that together, and Representative Snow. Those are plans that are done properly and give the county a guide, a roadmap to move forward. And it's not cast in stone. You have to look at them every 5 years or so.
Right. And I think that piecemealing it, I think we would still need to hire an outside consultant to come do that work. You can't. It would be nearly impossible for a one-person staffer, me, or whoever would be in this position, to do it along with preparing and getting plat committee and plan commission, regular plan commission meetings and BZA meetings all ready for what we do. So I think you would still have the expense of a consultant, obviously not as much if you would be focusing on just certain things. But also you would take into account if something contradicts something else, then you're getting into writing rewriting two potential sections or 2 potential topics to make sure we're focused on what it is that end goal would be.
So are you wanting to find out who's going to be a member from commissioners today?
Yeah, so today I was bringing, here's kind of what we've thought about as far as
Okay.
RFP and Q. And right now, we are going baby stepwise for right now. This is the first step, is getting somebody selected to meet with us when we are preparing the RFP. So there'll be one meeting, a guaranteed one meeting, and it's going to be with Hometown Initiatives and the rest of the committee to brainstorm, write the RFP. They will come with something prepared, but obviously we will need to tweak it to DeKalb, to what we want to see in it. It's really broad, number of meetings. If there's something specific that we want to see them give an example of something they've written, I'm going to just say solar, because was the hot topic, and what's on that front of my head is if there's, we do need to add something, because we do have it as an overlay district in our comprehensive plan for solar or renewable energy. And you want to have a consultant that has experience in writing comprehensive plans that help focus on that, just to have experience.
And hopefully somebody's got more rural experience.
Yes, of course.
Than urban
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
So we needed a nomination for that committee member.
Yes, our plan commission did do just kind of a roll call, but didn't we do a roll call, or not a roll call, unanimous consent vote? So,
For those members on
yeah,
it so far.
yeah, so I would like
We
that
just
as
need the
well.
council and the commissioner.
Yeah.
I'll nominate Todd Sanderson if he's willing to take it.
Willing to do it.
I'm fine with that. Wasn't expecting to get a nomination. No, well, no,
No, I mean, I'm not doing much, so I probably should step up a little.
Limited meetings, limited time. It's not, it's to select the consultant, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking to select a consultant based on
Yeah, that's all, that's what it is.
so, yeah, that's kind of in my wheelhouse, I suppose.
Okay. That's out of the way then. Paying for this.
Do you want to do a vote?
There should be a vote.
Should be vote.
There'll be a vote.
Aye.
I'll nominate Todd Sanderson for committee to select.
I thought we already did that.
Well, I don't think there was a second, nor was there a
Oh.
vote, so you
Okay, yeah, we
skipped
did.
2 steps.
Since
of
I'm being
Okay.
nominated, I won't second.
I'll
Oh,
say,
I thought Mike seconded.
Yeah, I thought Mike
Oh, he did,
seconded.
okay.
He did.
So,
yeah, I did.
He
Oh,
said-
sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So you
how I
missed
took
just
it
one part
anyways.
of it.
So now we just need a vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Are you
I'm
Todd?
abstaining
Oh, you're abstaining, all right.
since I'm being
Okay, we
nominated.
got 2 ayes.
Okay. Todd, I'll be in touch with you. Do you have a different email address, or do you check the county one?
I'll check county. County's best email. You gonna get with me on January 1st of 2025?
No.
Oh, okay.
It'll be, we're probably gonna be meeting here in probably the end of March.
That's fine. That works. Yep, just let me know.
Yep, we'll do.
Okay, Andrew,
Yeah.
what's your idea?
Andrew Provines, 3920 County Road 75. I actually had called Bill about this a while ago. And you guys had mentioned, we had talked about months ago, the Economic Development Commission, DeKalb's Economic Development Commission, and there was funding there, so $147,000 or something like that, that you guys said you had put aside for buying property, but everyone had agreed you're more getting rid of property than actually purchasing property. I actually think that an economic or a comprehensive plan is a really good thing, and I think that we need to do it. And one of the reasons is because of during the stuff that was going on with solar, when we would ask, or when we would make the point that the comprehensive plan did not lead to solar being everywhere across the county, people had said, comprehensive plan isn't really up to date. It doesn't really reflect what the county wants going forward, or it's not pertinent. And I think we need to make it pertinent. And I think that involves a lot of demographics. Chris had mentioned a number of demographics. You know, we've got the Amish community, we've got people in rural areas, we've got people in the cities, and all of those communities may not agree on exactly how the area around them should be used. So comprehensive plan is supposed to guide us into the future. I think we need to do it, and I think that all of the plan commission and elected officials should be involved. I think that you guys should go to a lot of these meetings, and I think that you should not, I think an outside consultant is good. I really think an outside consultant would keep it fair. I mean, even in the business I do, we bring in consultants specifically to run meetings. That way they're fair, they're unbiased. But if you guys went out and actually met with people, you know, and I'm not just you guys, I'm talking about plan commission, et cetera, be there for people to ask questions, for them to meet the members of the plan commission, meet the commissioners, that kind of thing, but not actually run the meetings. I think that we need to get input from all the different communities. I mean, you know, during the solar stuff, we fought back because we didn't really want to see that, and we weren't expecting it based on, I bought agricultural land. I would expect a CAFO. If a CAFO came to me, like right next to me, I wouldn't necessarily be happy, but I couldn't fight it because I bought that land expecting this is an accepted use. So I think we need to see in the community, in each area, in each demographic, what they foresee is, here's how I want my future to go. I think we need to take that into account across the board in DeKalb County. So a full new plan rewrite, I think, is a great thing. And I think that we should use some of that money from Economic Development Commission to do it. I mean, we have $147,000, I believe, and this is going to lead to economic development. This is going to lead to identifying those areas that want to grow, that want to have, you know, new industrial or renewable or, you know, maybe carbon capture in the future. You know, maybe some areas don't want it. So I think we need to identify those areas, and really that will help push us into, here's where economic development activities or opportunities should go based on the people that live there, that have lived there their whole lives. So that's it.
Thank you, Andrew. So if there's money there, laying there, would it be prudent to use that for this project?
Where's that money lying?
What fund is that? I'm not
In
sure.
the CDIP fund? Are you talking the lighted monies?
Yeah, I believe so.
The lighted monies?
I don't know exactly where it's at. So there was a line item, a budget line item that you guys pointed out 2 or 3 months ago. I had asked about the Economic Development Commission for DeKalb, and you guys had said basically it's by statute. There's not a lot going on there because we have the Economic Development Partnership that does a lot of that. And it was made note that there was $147,000 or something similar in that fund. And it was there in case you guys wanted to buy property. So I would think that we
Talked about taking
look that
that
up.
I believe, okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's there anymore.
We removed
For
Yeah, we did.
this year's budget, there's 118,000 in there.
So it went down a
Let me
little.
see if I can get through. Yeah, I don't know if I can get to.
Did you guys, I'm just wondering, did we transfer some out or did we use
No,
it to do
there's not been
something?
anything transferred out.
I mean, there are other ways to, the Okra grant for planning, DeKalb County doesn't qualify for because we are too rich of a county. We don't meet the threshold for the 51% or 49% for an Okra grant, but there are other grants out there that we could try to go for. The consultant, I hope, would help with that, with knowledge of those grants and what's out there.
Well,
I wouldn't,
we're not
Yeah.
talking about, we're talking about hiring a consultant, maybe, to do the master plan.
Right.
In September or October of '24. So this is '25 budget stuff anyway. So all
25
we-
and 26. I
Yeah,
would
so
assume we would
all
split
need
it
to
up
worry
over the
about
course of.
paying now is paying hometown initiatives.
And we have that in my budget.
Well, okay.
That's getting paid for. But I think the question the Plan Commission will have during this selection committee, and that's why whoever would be the person for council is gonna have to have an understanding of, and if we decide to move forward, hopefully that county commissioner and the county council person that's on the selection committee is going to be a cheerleader for us to get this through if we feel it to be a need. So
And regardless of funding, I wanted
Yeah.
to also point out that the comprehensive plan is going to lead to where economic development should go in the county. So I think it's important. I mean, I really do think it's an important thing to take on.
Yeah.
Oh, I certainly don't disagree, and I mean, you're right on as far as the process to do one. I mean, I was part of the 2004
Yeah.
comprehensive plan and the Auburn 2040, and that's the process.
Yeah.
You want input from as broad a base as you can get.
Yeah. And I wasn't part of the county's 2017. I was hired right at the tail end of that.
Yeah.
So I've not, unfortunately or fortunately, ever been part of a comprehensive plan rewrite. As far as being,
Well, fasten your seatbelt.
I know, I'm prepared for it. But yeah, and like Andrew said as well, it's important that we get, there's a lot of, I mean, we hired one, 18-year-old right out of high school that wants to stay in DeKalb County. And that's great. They should have a say in what's going on, but we have to go to those groups. We can't expect them to come to public meetings. You can't expect an 18-year-old out of high school to come to your county commissioners meeting. We can't guarantee they're going to come to plan commission. So we got to go to where they are. And if that means we need to set up at Matt Anthony's, I am game to do it.
I'll be there.
I know you will, Susan. That's why you said it.
And honestly,
That was said in jest, but in reality, you have to go to where the people are. You can't expect them to come to you.
Quite honestly, some of the biggest input we had during the 2040 plan was an online survey.
Yeah.
That had a tremendous response.
And this might seem a little selfish, but at the same time, I want to point this out. I mean, right now, everybody is involved. I mean, there's a lot of people in this county that are involved, not just anti-solar people, not just pro-solar people, but in general, the whole county is paying attention. So the sooner you can get out to those groups, because everybody's kind of aware, you might get a lot more involvement, and get people from all around the county.
Well, again, there's a process.
Oh, I get it. I'm just saying there's a lot of active people right now in general.
Yeah.
So, yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
I think it's something to Susan, something to keep still in the discussion point. Maybe not, luckily not much of the budget is in your wheelhouse, but especially to keep at the forefront of council and whoever we get on that committee, making sure that we, if we have the backing, we got to have them being a cheerleader as well.
Yeah. I'm not opposed
But thank
opposed to using lighted funds for that, as long as we have enough in the budget to earmark them for that. I mean, it fits.
Be cautious though with that.
Well, 49% of our lighted money is going towards the bond payment, so we have to be cognizant of that.
Yeah. So we have to keep track of that. Okay. Anything else? All done?
I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Okay, thanks.
2 things coming to you next.
Okay.
Maybe 3.
Okay.
I'll see if I can make time.
Have a good one, Chris.
Anything else, commissioners?
The St. Joe Sewer Project Forum, is it?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh. Yep.
So we received as the pass-through, we received the Okra grant for St. Joe Sewer.
700,000, 800,000?
Yeah. 700,000.
So I just have an environmental assessment record. It's called an environmental Form 8. It's part of the process that Bill needs to sign.
Then I would move that we authorize Bill to sign the environmental assessment Form 8 for the Okra grant.
And motion is second. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Does this help St. Joe as well, or is it just their district that it's in that district? So the reason I asked Miss Mary Simcox this at their economic development meeting. She goes, well, that doesn't help St. Joe at all. And so it does not? It's
No,
just been
the other
suspenseful?
money that we gave them out of the ARPA funds helps St. Joe because that's their water project. This is the St. Joe sewer district.
That's what I
Grant
thought.
here.
I thought
So-
it did help St. Joe.
Well,
That's the
it-
ARPA
it-
money did.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This money here is for the upgrades on the whole,
On the whole
on the
system.
wastewater treatment plant out there.
But didn't they need our money as the match money to go for the grant? Isn't
No.
that what that was for?
No,
Not for
no,
this, I don't think.
No, that was,
the ARPA money that we gave them
That's
is
right.
for water, not wastewater.
I confused the
Yeah.
two. Okay, that's right. So we did help St. Joe in the
Yes.
facet of the ARPA money.
Yes, we
That's
did.
right.
Yes,
That's right. Two different things. Yes, gotcha.
yeah, we didn't do
except for
anything.
the city, Angela told me that our ARPA money is going to Robin.
I think Andrew has some.
I'm sorry, I think there's a lot of confusion about this. It is because during the commissioners meeting, when you guys were doing the ARPA stuff, it was having good water was mentioned, but then also the tanks. So it's kind of mixture of sewer and water. I don't even think St. Joe is fully understands, I think they're under the impression that the ARPA money is going to the sewer district, not to the water issue. And I think there's some confusion. What's going where? Is the ARPA for water? Because I think it was written for sewer.
No, it wasn't. If it was, it was not done properly.
That's right, and that's what I'm wondering if a mistake was
That
made.
was meant to go to the water
Water.
line replacement because they've got asbestos wrapped
Right.
water lines.
That's what I remember.
So that's.
And that's what I thought as well, but I think-
150,000 was the water project. We don't have anything in other than approving them to go after the Okra grant.
grant,
We don't
right.
have anything in the
And
sewer
which we,
project.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we just were the lead on the Okra grant, and the 150 was for the asbestos water lines.
Yep.
And I think that St. Joe thinks that that's the opposite, or it was written opposite. So
Well-
we might want to check.
I specifically met with Angela on that water project deal,
Okay.
so she knows what we're
Okay.
talking
I
about.
just want to make sure we're clear on that.
So do we need to rescind that recommendation? It goes, that it was going to go to the sewer district and rescind that? And then
That's not how it was written up, was it, Susan?
The only thing I had in there was to add 150,000 St. Joe sewer project is
Okay.
what we had in the proposals to change.
and that's why I
No,
went
it's
through.
not sewer project.
It's the water, it's to replace those,
Yeah.
yeah.
So how do we correct it?
Well, I can
Well, I think the
I
meeting
can
was correct.
change
I
it
think
because
the way you listed
the
it
minutes
is
aren't
wrong.
approved yet.
Yeah.
The minutes?
It would have been the council minutes. The proposal to council, like, we just did that to council. They haven't approved their minutes yet.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So I
fix
need
it.
it.
We spelled
it's-
out our intentions correctly in the meeting. We
Water
just wrote it
project.
down as sewer. And that's when I saw sewer, when I saw that, I thought, wait a minute, this isn't for sewer.
Nope.
Not the ARPA money anyway. So, okay.
All right, now we're back on track.
Now, yeah,
Okay, we set?
I'm good. Yeah. We had a motion and a
On
second.
that sewer,
Oh, go ahead.
on that sewer grant, I had a DocuSign come in. I need motion to okay me signing that. Right? I didn't sign it.
Okay, on the,
That was on the grant, the Oka grant for the sewer district, St. Joe, Spencerville
Well, I
Sewer
don't-
District.
I get, you guys already approved doing that we just have to sign it as a pass-through entity,
Right.
which.
And you guys already
Already
approved, I think.
approved
didn't you?
Approved that at the last meeting, or at the
So-
meeting before.
Right, or whenever they did the application last year, didn't
I
they
think
approve it
you just
last
need
year?
to sign it.
Just sign
We've
it.
already,
Yeah, we've already
you guys
approved it.
already agreed
Okay.
that we're doing
Yeah,
that.
I think it's already approved.
Yeah, it is.
So you just sign it because you've already gone through and
remember
voted
that.
on it.
I think we're good there.
I think you signed the application and now this
Yes.
is just completing the process.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to have another vote.
We were the
Okay.
lead on that.
Yep.
Okay,
No other vote is needed.
wanted to make sure.
Yep. Better to make sure.
Okay,
Sign it all.
I think
just sign it.
Whatever's shoved under your nose,
Sign
right?
it.
that's never a good idea.
Okay, so you guys have the meetings, and then we have the ability to come back into session if you want. The only thing the last thing that I had was the Sunny Meadows range and refrigerator that I had sent to you separate yesterday. And I didn't know if you had time to look at that or what you wanted to do, if anything.
What time are you coming back for the executive session? Is that 1 o'clock now?
We're scheduled for 12:30, but there's nobody going to be here.
Right.
I'll come back at like 12:45 and resume and then do the executive, or
Let's
or do you want to just okay this? I'm
let's
good
do-
with the quote from Home
Let's
Depot.
just clean this
and,
up if you're ready
yeah.
to. Yeah, let's clean it up.
You're good with the, was I had,
I like the Larry's quote from the
Broke
Home
down.
Depot on both the refrigerator and the commercial oven. I think the oven was,
42?
okay.
what was the refrigerator cost from Home Depot?
The bigger one,
Yeah,
2,754.
yeah, that looked good to me. And then the range, I don't think we try to fix a 50-year-old range
Yeah, I don't think so.
because it's 2,500 to fix it and it still won't be fixed.
So Todd's motion's to go with both of those.
Yeah, what's the other, just so I know in the range?
4,644.99.
That is my motion, yes.
You want to use ARPA funds?
I think we probably use ARPA, or, well, we have the Sunny Meadows.
You have the Sunny
Yeah,
Meadows.
the Sunny Meadows
We have
ARPA
that,
money,
yeah.
yes.
Sunny
And
Meadows,
I,
ARPA
yeah, my
fund.
motion would be pay for it out of Sunny Meadows ARPA money.
A second.
Mike seconded.
The ARPA money wasn't already switched over from Sunny Meadows.
No, this
Not
is the
all. This
is a different one.
170,000 or
Okay,
so
this
we
is
left
different.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the
This is
600,000 we
Two
pulled.
different
Gotcha.
funds.
We left
Thanks.
140 something.
I was just checking. Okay.
Motion, you got
That
it?
was my motion, Mike seconded.
Okay, got a motion second. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Anything else? Susan?
Were those for me to pay, or were those to decide if we were doing it?
These are for the showers from Sunny Meadows. We got two different bills. One is Nestor Construction, materials and labor, $15,700. The other one is from West Flooring. That's for the tile work. That is $3,711.20.
So those are just ready to be paid?
Yeah, I saw them. Did you see them?
Yeah, I saw him. I'm good with them.
The rest of that
Because we won't-
equation is Pranger Enterprise. They will not be billing us. They supplied the two handicap showers, 48 by 36, with the seats, the access, the fixtures, the plumbing, the labor to install the plumbing, no bill.
That's great.
It's all donated, so
Thank you.
this is what we have to pay, and I don't,
We already approved the work. So
Yeah, we approved
Yeah,
the work. Just pay
so-
him.
Just put them in the claims.
Yep, they'll get approved through the claim process. Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
We should write a letter of thanks to Pranger.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
May even put a little plaque out there in Sunny Meadows that restorative work was donated. You know, that's just awful nice of them, because
Well, that's pretty
there's
awesome.
$15,000 or $20,000 worth of work here total.
Probably.
Sure, every bit of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the ventilators they provided,
yeah. It was very nice of them.
yeah, it was super nice.
Absolutely.
And it looks great. You get a chance, stop up here and check them out.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
look
sure
Maybe
they'll-
go out there and take a shower.
I'm sure they're all, I'm sure everybody
Maybe
there
they'll
is
cook for
very
you.
appreciative.
Yeah.
Not if you're taking a
They
shower.
might even put it in
Yeah.
a room,
Having one.
padded cell. I think we got padded cell out there in the basement.
Yeah, you'll need that from me soon.
They'll put the doorknobs on backwards so you can
Yeah.
get out.
Anything else? Andrew, you have anything for us?
I don't think so.
Susan, you done? Gentlemen, you done?
Done.
And we are adjourned. Let's go to lunch and be back in an hour.
Yeah, a little before 1 then, right? Yeah, you have a meeting, don't you?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's just downstairs.
Oh, I heard you had a meeting, that's why.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.